That's Tom de Rekker, the Southampton manager, as the two teams come out of the tunnel in front of the Cottage away to our left-hand side. There's a pyrotechnic welcome, a big ovation from those travelling Southampton supporters to their players who are wearing special yellow kits this afternoon, yellow jerseys, to mark the 50th anniversary of that 1976 FA Cup final win over Manchester United. Bobby Stokes, son of a greengrocer, with the winning goal at Wembley on that May afternoon. Fulham looking resplendent in their white tracksuit tops and all white strips. The two sets of players just heading to the halfway line, ready for the pre-match handshakes. Tom de Rekker, Scott Minto, what a good job he's done. Not many of us knew too much about him when he was parachuted in as caretaker manager after Will Steele's dismissal in November. They were 20th in the table when he came in, Ecker. The fact they're even talking about the playoffs shows how well he's bedded in and got them playing.
Absolutely, and for next season we could say that they can wait another couple of weeks when they get that 7th and 8th position, can get into the playoffs. Now look, he was the under-21 manager. He came in, he really steadied the ship. He won 6 of the first 7, and then there was no wins in 7. So and it was going back to what the team was like under Will Still, but he's turned it around. He's gone from a back 3 to a back 4. I think the keeper, Daniel Peretz, has made a big impression. I really do. He's learned from the best. Emmanuel Neuer coming from Bayern Munich, Harwood Bellis and Jack Stevens. I think Stevens, generally speaking, is better, or the team is better when he's in the side. James Bree coming back from Charlton as well. I think he's made a big impression. And as I say, both on and off the pitch, I think he's a very intelligent guy. You can see he's a good coach. But we also know the Championship is absolutely relentless and ruthless. They're just 4 points off. And you're right to mention about Wrexham, and they can look at the positives now. We're just concentrating on the league. But while you're in the FA Cup, why don't you want to try and win the next game?
And will they take encouragement from what Wrexham did live on Talksport yesterday? Really took that game to Chelsea, gave them an almighty scare, and but for a toenail offside would have taken it to penalties.
Yeah, that's right. As one of the few times I was really thankful for the offside technology. Yeah, absolutely, they can take this. Again, Crookie, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche to say it's a free hit, but it is. There's no pressure on Southampton here at all. They're coming to a Premier League side, or they're playing a Premier League side at the Premier League side's home, and if they do lose the game, then they can focus on really trying to get into the playoffs. It's almost a no-lose situation, so why not just go out and try and attack them from the start? And if they get that early goal, you just never know what can happen, because there's a really good atmosphere here in Craven Cottage. Been very, very impressed. But they're all expecting a comfortable win. And if it's anything but comfortable, you never know how they can emit their nerves onto the players.
Yeah, not quite full to capacity. You can see a lot of empty seats over on that magnificent new Riverside stand, double tiered. There's a swimming pool.
They're still there, that's what it is. They're drying off.
But you look at that away end, and they are fully invested, aren't they, these travelling Southampton fans?
Yeah, well, you know about the South Coast clubs, don't you? And you know how passionate the Southampton fans are. And, you know, they're looking at this as a brilliant day out. And what a day it would be if they were to travel up to West London, come to a Premier League side and see their side win. And, again, I can't stress even more importantly, I heard Stuart Pearce saying it a week or two ago, and I say it all the time, the FA Cup is not a distraction at all. There's nothing like winning football matches. You're not tired if you're constantly winning, and if they can come here against the Premier League side and carry on their unbeaten run, and there's so much positive psychology they can take into the next few games and the run-in for the rest of the season.
The Southampton players gathered in a huddle inside that penalty area in front of the travelling fans. They're going to have to hastily make their way to the opposite end of the field because they've been turned around at kick-off. So Southampton in their yellow shirts, blue shorts, yellow socks, will be shooting from right to left, attacking those Southampton fans behind the goal. Fulham all in white, shooting from left to right in this first half.
I thought we were going to have two teams shooting at the same end for a moment there.
Well, they made Fulham wait, and maybe there's a little bit of mind games being played already. Fulham have only ever reached one FA Cup final way back in 1975. Southampton were runners-up in 2003, winners 50 years ago, hence the centenary kit. Which one of them will be taking their place in the quarter-final? We are off and running here on Talksport 2, and it is Fulham in possession inside their own half with Joachim Andersen. One of those 9 changes made by Marco Silva. I'll run you through the two lineups once again in just a moment, but Harrison Reed against his old club, plays the ball forward, looking for Oscar Bob on this right-hand side. It's watched behind by Manning and out for a goal kick. So Fulham with Lecomte in goal, Castagna, Cuenca, Anderson and Sessegnon on the back four, Reed and Kearney the captain. Deepest in the midfield, Chukwueze, Smith Rowe and Bob in behind Rodrigo Muniz, who hasn't scored since the first day of the season, up front for Southampton. Peretz in goal, Bree, Harwood, Bellis, Wood and Manning in front of him. Then come Yander and Downs in midfield, Fellows, Azaz and Cienza behind the Mallorca loanee, the Canadian veteran Kyle Larin in attack. This the first of our FA Cup commentaries on this Sunday afternoon over on Talksport. It's a 1:30 kick-off between Port Vale and Sunderland. 4:30 for Leeds against Norwich, another Premier League against Championship tie. And then tomorrow, completing the fifth round weekend, we're going to be at the London Stadium, West Ham taking on Brentford in a London derby. Here is Joachim Andersen deep inside his own half. Fulham dominating possession in these early exchanges. 2 minutes gone, 0-0. Is this the way the game will go? You think Southampton content to sit deep, Scott Minto, and hit on the counter-attack?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if they're sitting fully deep. It's almost like a mid-block, really. But yeah, of course you would expect Fulham to have a lot more of the possession. They've got to make sure they're very compact, Southampton. You mentioned Tom Fellows there in the team.
Oh, what a good run by Chukwueze, sliding his way into the edge of the penalty area, into the feet of Muniz, who tried to give it back to Chukwueze, but Southampton, the yellow jersey's able to clear, and then Kyle Larin, too strong initially for Joachim Andersen. He wins it back, and Harrison Reed, diminutive in stature but big in heart, he picks it up now on the edge of the centre circle. It stays 0-0, but that was a glimpse of the talent that Chukwueze undoubtedly possesses.
Yeah, and Harrison Reed as well. He can score a cracker, can't he? but I mentioned about Tom Fellows, and you know it's a big game for him because he's no doubt he's a talented player. He hadn't suited the three at the back. He's definitely not a wing back, so he's playing in his favourite position. He's not had the best of seasons at Southampton. We know that on his best, he's one of the best Championship players out there. So, you know, this could be the game for someone like him and maybe other individuals that, you know, feel like they can have a really good end to the season and help Southampton get into the playoffs and above. Because actually, I think the hardest part for Southampton will be getting into the playoffs. I think once they're in, I actually would fancy them.
This is the fifth FA Cup meeting between the two teams. Fulham have only beaten Southampton once in the famous old competition way back in 1999, a Barry Howes goal. Seem to recall Kevin Keegan's side being knocked out by Manchester United that year.
There's a shock you mentioning that.
United may or may not have gone on to win the treble. They had a good side, didn't they? They were second tier then, Fulham under Keegan, but didn't stay there for very long as the ball is played back to the Saints goalkeeper. Signed from Bayern Munich in January, Daniel Peretz, the Israeli, launches the ball long upfield, headed out of play, and Saints have a throw in front of the two dugouts over on the far side. We played just over 3 minutes. It's still Fulham 0, Southampton 0 here on Talksport 2. We'll keep you up to date with the Old Firm derby over in Scotland has just got underway as well. Rangers against Celtic in the Scottish Cup quarter-finals. In fact, that gets underway at 1 o'clock, so I'm a little bit ahead of time. Here's Larin, who's got in behind the Fulham defence. He's into the penalty area, Larin. Oh, he looked to cut it back for Cienza, but got too much weight on the cross, and in the end Manning has to come scampering forward down the left to keep Southampton on the front foot. But the Fulham defence did switch off just for a moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a great opportunity, and Larin sort of got to the byline. He's looking up, he could only see Fulham defenders, and I think what the best thing to do there, and I can speak from a defending point of view, is just hammer it low. The last thing you want to do is sticking a leg out and maybe giving a known goal away.
Cienza looking for Manning, who goes down inside the penalty area. Referee says play on. Low cross from Cienza, scoop clear by Anderson, and Southampton have a throw, but plenty of vocal encouragement from those travelling Saints fans as their side look to try and take the game to Fulham early on. 0-0. A good play again between Manning and the very talented Leo Cienza, the Brazilian. Plenty of goals and assists for him over the past few weeks. The appointment of Tom de Recker really has brought the best from Cienza, and if they don't go up this season, I'd imagine there'll be clubs in the Premier League keeping a close eye on him.
Well, it'd be interesting because I think he's got to be really, really consistent for a Premier League club to come in for him. But I think on his day, he is Southampton's best player. He can do a little bit of everything. He's very skillful, can score, can make assists.
That's a good ball by Peretz down the right-hand side. And an opportunity again for Southampton to load up the penalty area as the cross comes in, looking for Larin, but nodded away by Timothy Castagna, and then Muniz Out-muscled by Jack Stevens, the Saints captain.
It's twice they've gone over the top now, Crookie, and twice they've looked dangerous. They've beaten any kind of offside trap that Fulham may or may not have been trying to play, certainly having a high line, and they've got pace in behind. Tom Fellows, decent cross on his left foot, just needed to try and get more numbers in the box.
And you're right about Peretz learning from the great Bayern Munich goalkeepers, because when it comes to him having the ball at his feet, there is a little bit of Manuel Neuer about him.
That was a great strike, wasn't it?
0-0 at Craven Cottage, live on Talksport 2, but Southampton, who dropped to 8th in the Championship as a result of yesterday's results, certainly making their presence felt early on. Here's Kearney for Fulham in space, and he's picked out Chukwueze down the left-hand side. Chukwueze with a cross that's blocked on the edge of the penalty area, and then Finn Azaz back doing his defensive duty. Get Southampton moving forward once more, and they've played their way out from the back neatly. Azaz down the right-hand side, just inside Fulham territory, plenty of white shirts between him and the 18-yard line, so sensibly just opts to play it back into his own half, and then it's given away cheaply. Oscar Bob picks it up and makes his way into the penalty area. Oscar Bob just forced wide as he looked to get the shot away, and in the end the cross is turned behind for the first corner of the game. That was almost a disaster, all of Southampton's own making. It was Casper Yander, I think, with the sloppy pass, and it was him in the end who, to his credit, got back and blocked the cross and turned it behind for a corner.
Yeah, because Finn Azaz did really well, and as Casper Yander, he's almost, the foot was underneath him. He wasn't able to get proper length on his pass, and in the end Oscar Bob just brought it down. It's the last thing Southampton need, is to not be in position to give the ball away and for Fulham to have a counter-attack, especially with someone like Oscar Bob, who has got dancing feet, and he danced through the box there, and in the end Southampton managed to just get it away for a corner.
Oscar Bob, who was part of the Manchester City side that reached the final back in 2024, he's only made one Premier League start since making that move from City to Fulham in the most recent transfer window, but he's in from the off this afternoon and keen no doubt to make an impression. Harrison Reed with a corner, headed goalwards by Joachim Andersen, but straight into the arms of Peretz, who immediately bowls it out to Azaz, and Azaz looks long upfield for Tom Fellows, who'd stay forward. He won't keep that in play. Throw in for Fulham midway inside their own half, and it stays 0-0.
No, but the idea was right. I think that early ball over the top of the Fulham defence, whether they're ready and playing a high line or whether they're not all in place, I think it's the right idea. It was just the wrong execution. Tom Fellows would have had a 1-on-1 against Ryan Sessegnon. Sessegnon may well have still fancied his chances, but it was the right idea to counter-attack quickly.
We've got an early kick-off in League One this afternoon. Wimbledon against relegation threat and Northampton, 0-0 there. 10 minutes gone as Southampton and James Bree are forced to concede another corner as Fulham went long there, so it's going to be over on the left-hand side this time. The Premier League side just beginning to try and assert some pressure, and it will be Harrison Reed, a Southampton Academy product, who takes it over on that far side. He's got Oscar Bob, who's come over for a possible short corner as well. Much like the last set piece, everybody bar the goalkeeper Lecomte is forward for Fulham. Good header away on the corner of the 6-yard box by Bree, and picked up by Oscar Bob over on the left-hand side. And then Sessegnon into the Fulham stalwart Kearney. Good spell of possession this. Everybody in yellow for Southampton. Back well inside their own half as Fulham are just playing it around at will, but not really in an area where they can hurt their visitors from the second tier. Kearney over on the far side into Sessegnon, and now Reed takes over again. He has got a wonderful range of passing, Harrison Reed, but he goes short this time to Bob, who skips away from one challenge and then tries to feed it forward to Chukwueze. Southampton defend their area well again, and now will come forward on the counter-attack with Flynn Downs. 0-0, but a really open start here at Craven Cottage, and a good run by Downs out to Fellows, who tries to side foot the pass forward to Larin. If it had found him, it would have been a free shot on goal. As it is, it's steered behind for a Southampton corner, but that was a really good attack.
Brilliant attack. Great run from Flynn Downs, and he's onside, Tom Fellows. Why not take a touch and have a shot yourself? He's sort of eye of a needle to try and find the right pass there, and Jorge Cuenca does really well getting back, but just have a shot on target. And actually, you know, if the keeper's not able to hold it, Lecomte, then maybe Larin can follow it in, but now it's not even a shot, but at least they've got the corner.
Yeah, and in Ryan Manning they have someone who can put a ball on a sixpence. He's got 6 goals this season, 4 assists. He goes short to Fellows and then back to Manning. Little toe-punted ball into the area, looking for Larin, but Fulham clear, and then headed back towards the left corner flag by James Bree. And Fulham, with Anderson, able to clear the ball upfield. And Muniz picks the pocket of Kasper Yander, and then runs out of pitch on this near side, so Southampton have a throw in midway inside Fulham territory. I just wonder how fit Rodrigo Muniz is going to be this afternoon. He's only started 4 Premier League games all season.
Yeah, look, he probably won't play the full 90 minutes, but they've got a guy called Raul Jimenez who can come off the bench. I've heard he's pretty good. So
it is a strong Fulham bench, isn't it?
It's a very strong Fulham bench. It really is. But look, 10 minutes gone, and Fulham have had 60% of the possession, but I actually think Southampton have looked the most dangerous or closest to coming to scoring a goal, so they can't be delighted.
And you can see the outball, can't you, every time. Jack Stevens this time looking for Fellows. Clearly they feel that Fellows against Sessegnon is a battle they can win. Here comes Sessegnon, who arguably is probably better carrying the ball forward than he is defensively, and he runs a long way there into the Southampton half of the field away to our right. Anderson into Kearney. Anderson now under pressure from Larin, rolls the ball back into his own penalty area, and the Frenchman Lecomte, signed from Montpellier in the summer, 34 years of age. This is his third FA Cup start of the season. There's a good ball forward to Smith Rowe inside the centre circle. He was looking for Chukwueze. Bree was there first, but he's a bit annoyed with himself, James Bree, that he just tamely side-foots the ball out of play for a throw rather than keeps possession. And then Kearney looking for the ball in behind Bree, where again the run had been made by Sessegnon. This time it's clear, but as far as Kearney 20 yards out as to shoot by the Fulham fans, rolls it to his right, and Bob with the opportunity to run into the penalty area, shift the ball onto his left foot, shoots low towards the corner, and it's an easy save by Perez, who just collapses on top of the ball at the near post, and it stays 0-0.
There has got to be better communication there between Ryan Manning and Leo Cienza. Both of them went with the runner in the end, and then Oscar Bob just came inside and had that shot. And Ryan Manning, being the left back and the senior pro and being the defender, needs to take control of that situation, needs to tell Cienza exactly what to do. Either you pick him up, or I've got the runner, or you stay with the runner. And in the end, both of them went with the runner, and that's a really good chance for Oscar Bob, I have to say. Should have done better. Hit the target, yes, but straight at the keeper.
And you don't want to be like someone like Oscar Bob to have too many pot shots at goal, too many opportunities to cut in on that left foot. It was something I absolutely hammered Tyrell Malacia for. And Manchester United considered that late winner against Newcastle in midweek. But it's the basic rule of defending, isn't it? Show the player outside if you're the fullback.
Who was hammering Malacia, Crookie? I think I know who was hammering Malacia. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, one, you don't turn your back, but two, the communication. And as a defender, Leo Cienza is a very, very, very good Southampton player, but he's not great at defending. So therefore, as a left back and an experienced left back, Ryan Manning has to take control of the situation, and that was a really good opportunity for Bob. And Bob should be kicking himself that he hit it straight at the keeper.
14 minutes gone. Fulham 0, Southampton 0 in this FA Cup 5th round tie. We know that Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City and Arsenal are already safely through to tomorrow's quarter-final draw. Will it be an all-Premier League last 8, or can Southampton spoil the Fulham party? Here's Bob again on the edge of the penalty area. Poor touch and cleared away by the England international, Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Soon to be, if he's not already, son-in-law of Roy Keane. Tell you what, you don't want to have a bad game, do you, on a Sunday lunchtime and then go around that house for Sunday dinner. Roy Keane, never one to mince his words.
You don't want to get into an argument with your missus either, do you?
Very good point. Certainly don't want to set a dad on you. Here's Anderson inside the Fulham penalty area, forward to Rodrigo Muniz, who's got room to turn inside the centre circle. He had Fellows for company, plays it back to Castagna. Timothy Castagna, who was in the Leicester City side that beat Southampton in the semi-finals of the FA Cup back in 2021 when Leicester went on to lift the trophy. Here's Smith Rowe, bit of space for Chukwueze, left corner of the penalty area. Chukwueze into the box, pulls it back, and the shot blocked initially, comes for Oscar Bob, blocked again. and then an effort from miles out by Kearney is wide, and it will be a goal kick for Southampton. I think the best opportunity there was actually Sessegnon with the first effort.
Yeah, it's actually really good defending from Southampton in the end. And look, you know that Fulham will have shots either just on or off target, but they'll get into the final third. Perhaps he shouldn't have been so much allowed Chukwueze to come in the first place. That Sessegnon has the shot. It's on his right foot. It's well blocked, and it comes out to Oscar Bob. And actually, Caspian, that is a brilliant block, because it's come at Oscar Bob quite quickly and it's bouncing, but he's side-footed it, and it was going right in the corner.
That's terrific held-up play by Larin at the other end. Finds Fellows, and here's Cienza 20 yards out. Can he get the ball into a shooting position? Not quite first time around, but still keeps it alive inside the penalty area. He's going to try and take on Castagna, and then crosses towards the far post. That's a good ball from Cienza. Larin, the number 9, not on his toes, and he waves an apologetic arm in the end. Nothing wrong with the cross. Striker should have been on the end of that.
That's not a good ball. That's an absolutely brilliant ball. And that's all you need. You don't always need to take on your fullbacks and go past them to put in a great cross and be effective. And Cienza does so well, because Castagna's kind of held him up. He's tackled him first. He's got him again one-on-one. And he's just got half a yard on his right foot. And no one, neither Larin nor Tom Fellows, has gambled. And that's what the goal scorers do. Somehow just trust that there's a cross that's going to come in. And in the end, not only did Fulham not have to kick it away, they were able to let it go because they knew no one was around them.
Well, he did convert a penalty, Kyle Larin, in the last round against Leicester. Again, that Southampton won in extra time in the end, but he isn't a prolific goal scorer. I think he's more of a target man, a hold-up player. And actually, at the start of that move, the way he held it off his man and then almost with the overhead kick played it out to Fellows, that's the best of Larin.
Yeah.
But maybe lacks that predatory instinct, and that's why he wasn't quite on his toes for the cross.
Which exactly shows why you just said he's perhaps not that clinical striker. That, you know, it's not inbred. You can learn, you can be taught certain things, but the real top ones just have it in them. They know just where to move as a move is developing, and someone should have got towards the back post there.
Yeah, and it's been an issue for Southampton all season, actually, in terms of the number 9. I was at their game against QPR recently. They won 5-0. Not a single striker got on the score sheet, and they've got Ross Stewart, who probably is their most natural finisher. I was totting it up this week. Since he joined the club in 2022, he's on the bench today. He's missed 111 matches.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it almost doesn't matter if you have Lionel Messi if he's on the bench all the time. You know, you've got to have players that you can put out there. And look, there are some players that, from a physical point of view, and it is really, really physical in the Championship and the Premier League, and if you can get 30 games out of them, you might get 10 goals, and double figures in goals is fine. But yeah, Ross Stewart and Larin, between them, they need to find a way to make sure they can dovetail well and get Southampton into the playoffs.
Free kick here for Fulham, midway inside Southampton territory. Harrison Reed with a right-footed swinger into the area. Muniz meets it, heads it wide via a deflection, and it's going to be Fulham's third corner of these opening 19 minutes. Is it? No goal kick in the end. I think the referee overruled the assistant. And then they've taken the goal kick. The ball has been put into the net, but the whistle had already blown for a foul on the edge of the penalty area. Controversial, but this will not stand. It was a real mess from Southampton as they took the goal kick. Fulham, in fairness, were on their toes. The ball was put into the empty net, but you could clearly hear, Scott, the whistle had already blown.
Well, I don't think that it was for a foul. I think the referee's now saying that, actually, because there is no foul. The goalkeeper, Peretz, has taken it really quickly. It's gone into the back of his own player. He's gone down, and Jared Gillett's saying, no, you've got to wait for the whistle. But if they'd have played that quickly and nothing had have happened and there was a possible attack for Southampton, he would have played on.
Well, that is a huge moment, isn't it? Because Rodrigo Muniz did what all good strikers should do. Ironically, Arthur, we've been talking about Larin and maybe lacking that predatory instinct. As it came to him, first time, bang, swept it into the bottom corner. And you're dead right, the goalkeeper, Peretz, I think he hit it against Harwood Bellis, who goes down like he's been shot by a sniper on the top of that Riverside stand, and the referee rules out the goal.
It's a grassy mole over there or something. I mean, no, but we saw what happened there. That's a big moment.
Well, it will be if Fulham go on and get knocked out of the FA Cup this afternoon. I'm not sure that Jared Gillett has made the right call there.
Do every goal kick, do referees blow the whistle to say, keeper, you can now take it?
Well, the ball was rolling as well, so it wasn't a dead ball.
But that's not Fulham's fault.
No, I agree. A really contentious incident here. 20 minutes gone, 0-0. Fulham looking to atone for it as Castagna crosses into the area, only steered away as far as Kearney is to shoot, feints to strike one and then plays it in to Bob instead, and Castagna's cross is straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. Tell you what, Fulham fans sat around us in the press box, they're looking perplexed by that decision, and you can understand why.
I think we all are. I mean, at what point is that not a clear and obvious error? I just, Peretz has tried to take it quickly, and we've seen the sort of tactics that Southampton are trying, and I get it. But why is that not a clear and obvious error from Jared Gillett?
Well, I think because he'd already blown the whistle before the ball was put in the back of the net. Therefore, VAR can't intervene.
I can't remember when he blew the whistle now.
He definitely blew the whistle before the ball went in. Otherwise, I think VAR would have intervened and given a legitimate Fulham goal. 0-0.
Southampton got away with that one, whatever.
Certainly did. And you wonder if they'll be playing short goal kicks for the rest of the game now. They have got a corner here, Fulham.
I don't even think it was meant as a short goal kick. He tried to ping it as hard as possible, and that's why the defender went down as if he'd been shot.
I mean, unless the referee was trying to claim it was a head injury, which it clearly wasn't. No. It's an absolute mess from Jared Gillett and his team. Corner cleared as far as Sessegnon, who tries to let fly in the volley. Didn't make clear contact, and Southampton could be in here on the counter-attack. Cienza is away from Sessegnon, and he's going to go one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He has Larin to his right. He goes for goal, Cienza, and he side puts it wide. What a let-off for Fulham. A massive chance for Southampton on the counter. It was brilliant the way that he controlled the ball on the chest inside the centre circle, stripped clear of Sessegnon. I think he may have been in two minds whether to roll it to Larin for the tap-in or go for goal himself. Out comes the keeper. He has to squeeze it in, and he's rolled it wide. Cienza, 0-0.
He's got to score. Forget the two minds, and they may well have been, but you make your decision. It's a bit like a penalty, almost when you're walking up to it. What am I going to do? He had time, and that's sometimes that certain players don't particularly like. I think Cienza's good enough, technically, to be able to deal with that. And in the end, it was just a poor execution. But if you decide you're not going to pass, and I do think that was the right decision, you have to score. You have to score. You're up against the Premier League side away from home in the den of the cottage. And you're getting the best chance. You won't get a better chance of the rest of the game. You can't be a better chance unless it's a penalty, a one-on-one situation. You have to score.
Tell you what an entertaining cup tie. They've reached the halfway point of the first half, 0-0. Fulham have had a goal controversially disallowed, and Southampton have missed an absolute sitter moments later. Castagna into Harrison Reed. He's been fouled by Flynn Downs, always combative. Free kick and a chance to load up the penalty area once again. You're listening to the FA Cup live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, and prices may vary.
Is it too late to do that now for us?
It's a proper cup tie, isn't it? Did you not have the breakfast this morning?
No, I did. I did full English here.
Oh, the goalkeeper has punched at the cross, and they've got just about enough on it in the end. Peretz goes down claiming injury. It's going to be a Fulham throw-in. He's very fortunate there, Peretz, that he got just enough purchase on the punch to clear it, and then he's gone down and maybe in need of some treatment. I think he's probably more embarrassed than anything else. Maybe got a bash in the ribs from his own teammate, but play is halted temporarily. Don't forget, coming up later over on Talksport, more FA Cup fifth round action for you. Port Vale, who knocked out Bristol City in midweek, they take on Sunderland. And at 4:30, also on Talksport, we've got Leeds against Norwich, the Daniel Farker derby at Ellen Road. And Norwich in great form in the Championship since Philippe Clement became their manager. Wimbledon have taken the lead against Kevin Nolan's Northampton in League One. 1-0 there, as Harrison Reed comes forward down the Fulham right. Still 0-0, but certainly a very enterprising and entertaining game to this point.
0-0 shouldn't be. Fulham should have definitely have had a goal, and Southampton should have finished better.
Well, it's a huge chance, wasn't it, for Cienza? As I say, brilliant the way he raced away from Sessegnon.
He did really well.
We knew he couldn't foul him, he'd have been sent off. But just the final moment as he went one-on-one with the keeper, he shot the wrong side of the post. Another corner here for Fulham. Sessegnon's effort charged down by Downs. That's their fourth corner already, the Premier League side. 25 in, 0-0.
Yeah, I think we are, haven't they? If you look at Southampton's stats, only 30% ball possession, one shot, and none on target. But that doesn't tell the story of how dangerous Southampton have looked at times, with either that ball over the top for the high line or that one-on-one situation that they have had. So, yeah, it's a good game, this.
Scott Minto was part of that Chelsea team with the likes of Zola and Di Matteo and Leboeuf, who went all the way in this competition back in 1997, beat Middlesbrough in the final at Wembley. Harrison Reed with a corner, headed away at the near post. It's going to be another corner from that left-hand side for Fulham. Imagine actually at the start of that 1997 FA Cup campaign, Chelsea weren't necessarily one of the teams fancied to win it, were they?
We were a good side, chucking Vialli there as well. I think we were probably a typical cup side, being inconsistent but very good on our day.
Harrison Reed with the ball in, which is cleared. Well, we saw last season with Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup that it's not just about the big guns, and Fulham and Brentford, who play West Ham away from home tomorrow, safe in the Premier League in terms of any threat of relegation. Yes, they obviously are looking at Europe, but if you ask most Fulham or Brentford fans, would you rather finish 8th in the Premier League and not win the FA Cup, or win the FA Cup? They would take the latter.
At least just try to win the FA Cup. Sometimes you do see it's not just Premier League teams, it's Championship teams as well, making so many changes, almost if they don't want to try and just understand your market, understand your fans, know what they want. And yes, clearly managers do have to make sure that they think about the whole season. They've got to rotate, they've got to be careful with players having burnout, getting injury, being fresh still at the end of the season. But we're at the point now where the winners here get into the quarter-finals. I mean, there are big boys still left in the competition, but you never know what can happen in a one-off game.
And as a player as well, I mean, I think I'm right in saying you were the West Ham team that finished in the top 6 in the Premier League one season?
5th.
Yeah. But what do you remember more, 5th in the Premier League or winning that FA Cup at Wembley?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, we finished 5th and qualified. We didn't win, qualified for the Intertoto. So we had to go into the Intertoto to qualify for the UEFA Cup. Now 5th gets you into the Champions League. But no, 100%. That's what the fans remember, don't they?
Throwing into the Southampton penalty area, headed on by Muniz. They've not got it away yet. Muniz is happy enough just to let it roll behind for a corner. I think defensively they have looked vulnerable, Southampton, when they've been attacked.
Do you know what? I think both the sides have looked vulnerable. I really do. And the only surprise really is that perhaps coming up to the half-hour mark it's 0-0. I do think that that goal for Fulham should have been allowed. Siendas should have scored as well. 1-1. Both teams pretty much trying to be on the front foot. Certainly not a boring game for sure.
We're going to be fascinated to see what Marco Silva has to say when Sam Allard goes down and interviews him at the end of the game, particularly if Fulham don't go through. About that disallowed goal. Harrison Reed with a corner, swung towards the far post, met by Joachim Andersen, and the goalkeeper does really well to spring up on his near post and block the shot behind for another corner. He collides with the post almost at the same time.
Yeah, he does do well. He does do well because it's a great ball in. And when you think about it, there's only 2 yards out and he's just behind the far post. So for a keeper or defender not being able to clear that, and Anderson being allowed to come in at the far post, it's a great ball in. It's all about the delivery, and he just makes himself big, Peretz, doesn't he? And makes sure you're not scoring from there.
He hasn't scored since last January, Joachim Andersen, but he had an opportunity there. Harrison Reed with a corner from the right this time, nodded down by Muniz. Half-hearted shout for handball, and it's going to be cleared away and out for a Fulham throw on this near touchline. But a sustained spell of pressure here from the Premier League side.
Yeah, and if you're a Championship side or a sort of a lower side against the bigger side, one thing you don't want to do is to be conceding goals in set pieces. That is something that you should be able to handle. If they open you up with a brilliant bit of play or individual skill, so be it. But don't concede on corners or long throws.
Just to clear up that disallowed goal, it does seem the ball was rolling as the goal kick was taken. That's why the referee blew his whistle.
I'll leave it out.
For it to be re-spotted. But crucially there, he blew his whistle before it hit the back of the net. And just to reiterate, that's why VAR cannot then intervene, because effectively the player's already been stopped. Throwing into the area, Muniz tries to get a shot away, it's blocked. Mike Chukwueze on the volley, left-footed, and a good save down to his left by Peretz, and it stays goalless.
Yeah, decent strike, just gets on top of it. Has to rely on his technique and make sure that he does get it on target, but really it's come straight at Peretz, 20 yards out. It's a save he should be making and has. And look, I'd be saying this exactly the same on the other side if it was Southampton. So, Southampton fans can't be thinking, what's he saying? the goal was rightly disallowed. And I'm sorry, I'm not having that, because if he'd have passed it out and the ball was rolling and then they've had 3 or 4 passes in their own half and a slow build-up would have happened, you're telling me Jared Gillett would have pulled that back and said, hold on a minute, I didn't blow the whistle. I didn't know referees blow the whistle every single time a goalkeeper has a goal kick. And
I think it was because he had blown the whistle because it was rolling.
Yeah, but I'm not having that.
Oh, I don't think Marco Silva will be either, but what I would say is since Cienza then raced up the other end soon after that disallowed goal, missed a one-on-one, Southampton haven't really been able to get out of their own half. They might here because they've got a free kick. The Peretz is clearly going to launch long upfield, looking for Larin. They're appealing for offside, the Fulham defenders. The flag does go up and it's going to be a free kick just on the edge of their own penalty area. Goalless here on Talksport 2. First of 3 live FA Cup 5th round commentaries this afternoon over on Talksport. Port Vale, Sunderland, followed by Leeds against Norwich. They're underway at Ibrox in the Scottish Cup quarter-finals. That's a 1 o'clock kick-off, so in about half an hour's time there. And Wimbledon 1, Northampton 0 in League One. That's a result that will leave Northampton 3 points adrift of safety. As Harrison Reed tries to play the ball forward for Kearney for Fulham. Overlapping Castagna. He might get a corner there off Cienza, he does. So once again, Joachim Andersen and Jorge Cuenca, the Spaniard, can come forward. Fulham have won each of their last 8 FA Cup ties against lower division sides. The corner is headed away from goal by Rodrigo Muniz, and then Fellows does really well to dispossess Chukwueze down by the left corner flag. He's not got a single player at the moment inside the Fulham half, so he just holds it up on halfway, and then Flynn Downs back to his goalkeeper Peretz. Now Taylor Harwood-Bellis forward to Manning. Fulham 0, Southampton 0, 13 minutes to go in this first half on a grey Sunday lunchtime down by the banks of the River Thames. Opportunity maybe for Bree to get across into the penalty area, looking for Larin, flicks it on, Larin comes for Cienza, right foot volley across the 6-yard line, and Fellows trying to stoop to head it in, can't get there, it's out for a throw. He's got a wry smile, Cienza, because I think he knows that wasn't his greatest ever attempt at a volley. No, but it wasn't an easy technique, and it was an opportunity for him for sure. As Castagneda had come in towards to try and maybe help with the cross and left Cienza on his own, which gave him the ability to have that right foot volley, and it's come off the sort of top of his foot, which means not only did it not, and the angle it was at as well, it's not hit the target, but it's actually gone closer to the corner flag than it has the goal itself. And Tom Fellows nearly got on the end of it at the other end of the goal. He would have been offside, I think, had he have made contact, but to throw in for Southampton now, level with the 18-yard line, right far side of the ground as we look. The cross from Bree is blocked behind by Harrison Reed and out for a throw in. Still 0-0 with 12 minutes to play in this first half. Of course, we do need a winner this afternoon, so extra time and penalties if the scores are still level after 90 minutes. That's an overhit cross from Bree. It goes out for a throw in on this near side for Fulham. Yeah, not the best of crosses, I think it's fair to say, but do you know what? Southampton have looked dangerous. You know, I like the look of them. You know, the stats will suggest it's been Fulham dominating. That's not really been the case. Yes, they've been on top, and yes, they've certainly spent more time in Southampton's half than vice versa, but at any given time, Southampton look like they can trouble Fulham defensively. 11 shots to 2, 4-0 on target, but the one big chance has come from Leo Cienza. Rodrigo Muniz has just been rugby tackled to the ground by Taylor Harwood-Bellis. England could have done a bit with that yesterday, couldn't they, when they lost to Italy in the Six Nations. It's a free kick for Fulham deep inside their own half, and a chance for me to draw your attention to the fact that to mark International Women's Day, Talksport has produced a special panel show bringing together some of its most respected on and off-air talent to offer an honest, inspiring and practical guide to being a female in sports media, hosted by Shabana Hearn, Angelina Kelly and Adrian Durham. You can watch the show now on the Talksport YouTube channel and the women's football page. 0-0 between Fulham and Southampton. Southampton on the cusp of the Championship playoffs. Fulham looking to secure a European place in the Premier League, but certainly not too much of a golfing quality on the evidence of this opening 35 minutes between the two. Anderson forward to Kearney as captain, right-hand side. Kearney looking to get away from Kasper Yander. And as he played the ball forward to Oscar Bob, Bob was in an offside position, so it's a free kick for the Saints. Southampton, who've won 5 of their last 7 FA Cup ties away from St Mary's. They beat Doncaster on the road in round 3 before narrowly getting past Leicester in an all-championship tie in the last round. So this is the first Premier League team they faced this season, as Harrison Reed tries to make space for a cross down by the right corner flag. He was trapped by Yander. It's not going to go out of play, so Yander having to try and clear the ball under quite a bit of pressure down by that corner flag. He's done well, and then he's looked for Larin. Not sure he's quite going to be quick enough to keep that in, is he, Larin? He does. Gets away from Castagna in the process, and now he is on the edge of the penalty area. Larin forward looking for Fellows. Really well defended by Chuck Waze to poke that behind for a corner again. It was a quick-fire Southampton counter. Yeah,
that's exactly where they look dangerous. And Kasper Yander has been taught recently that he's not been happy, denied by his manager. He's done really well defensively, played that ball out wide. He's kept it in, Larin. It's come inside, and yeah, it's really good play from Chuck Wasey, from your winger. That's what a Marco Silva team does.
Again, I just wonder if he might have been able to get a shot away there, Larin, rather than try for the extra pass. There have been opportunities, I think, for Saints to pull the trigger a little bit earlier than they've been willing to.
Yeah, why not have a pop? Make a name for yourself.
Well, they've got a corner here. Over on the right-hand side, Ryan Manning to deliver in front of the travelling hordes from Hampshire. And it's a teasing, in-swinging delivery that Fulham needed a couple of attempts to get clear. And it's still not fully away yet. Castagna has hit it against Fellows. And then it's poked back by Anderson to his goalkeeper, Lecomte, who finds the halfway line. Run back by Manning. Stevens plays it down the right-hand side to Bree. Bree with a low ball into the area, flicks off Reed, and behind for another corner, which is warmly received by those Southampton supporters.
Well, we're not exactly right on half-time, but in the 37th, 38th minute now. And if Southampton were able to nick one and keep it 1-0 half-time, then it'd be an interesting team talk for Marco Silva. And would he decide to make any changes? Bottom line is Southampton are very much in this FA Cup tie.
Yellows, yellows is the cry from the away fans, trying to suck this corner into the back of the Fulham net. Away to our left. It's going to be Manning again, left-footed from the right-hand side towards Larin at the near post. Again, Fulham get it clear, and then Fellows going to play it back to Manning, but his pass is picked off by Kearney, and Fulham can come forward on the counter. Taken out by Downs, referee says play on, and it comes now for Sessegnon inside the 18-yard box. Sessegnon with a cross, headed away but not too far. Kearney out to Castagna down the right. Castagna with the delivery, looking for the far post, but it's flicked away by Fellows, and then Bree clears it upfield to Carl Larin. 0-0.
Yeah, they missed out on that one, didn't they? You have to say. The really good counter-attack, and it's almost as if Fulham need to try and open up Southampton in that way, because at this moment in time, just the pass is not quite working.
Fulham in possession again, down their left-hand side with Kuenka, forward to Emil Smith-Rowe. Not mentioned him too often.
No, we haven't. He needs to get it more in the game. Actually, he should have been screaming for the ball, because I think that pass should have come out to him on the counter-attack, but not seen enough of him.
Well, the ball in towards Cienza is intercepted by Castagna. Now Reed inside the centre circle, forward to the aforementioned Smith-Rowe, rolls it out to his left and Chuck Waze. They've got options in the centre here, deep cross towards the far post that Manning turns behind. I'm not sure he needed to, because there was nobody in a white shirt within 10 yards. It's a needlessly conceded corner, I feel.
No, I've been in that situation before. You're not quite sure how close the winger is behind you. Therefore, again, communication. You need someone, i.e. the keeper, to be shouting, leave it. He can't risk it if he's not sure. Now, there is an opportunity now for Fulham to score before half-time.
I was going to say, just before that, Daniel Peretz actually, Southampton were taking a corner, raced all the way into their half to give some kind of instructions to the German Yander, but not quite so vocal this time, as the corner is whipped in, a teasing one from Oscar Bob, and it was punched away from under his own crossbar. by the Saints keeper, and then great footwork by Cienza, skipping away from a challenge, rolling the ball out to the right hand side. Can they get across in here? Southampton towards Fellows, edge of the 6-yard box, and he couldn't quite get on the end of it. Again, brilliant from Cienza, inside his own half. Lovely little drop with the shoulder. He took a couple of Fulham players out of the game, races into the Fulham half, and then plays a lovely ball out to the right. They don't quite make the most of it, Southampton.
Yeah,
he is such a good player.
He's quicker than opposition players realise, and perhaps the Fulham players won't exactly know too much about Leo Cienza. Certainly the Championship defenders do, but the way he kind of almost scurries with the ball, and he got away from 2 Fulham players, and it ended up being 4v2. And because of that overhit ball meant that they didn't attack in the end, didn't get an opportunity to shoot on goal.
Here he is again, Cienza, down the left-hand side. He had a runner ahead of him. He's drawn the foul from Oscar Bob, and the referee thought about playing advantage and then gives the free kick. Fulham fans around us claiming that was a dive by Cienza, but I think Oscar Bob just fell for the bait, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just good, skillful play. I mean, 1, it's a skillful player on the ball. 2, it's a skillful player trying to tackle. I know who normally comes out on top there. Normally get a silly tackle, and it's exactly what happened. And again, it's another opportunity, a set piece for Southampton to try and score just before half-time.
This has been a really good FA Cup 5th round encounter. 0-0, but certainly no shortage of talking points. As the ball is whipped in by Bree, headed away, I think, by Castagna, and then picked up inside the centre circle by the Alice band wearing Yander. He nods it forward, and it's headed away by Chukwueze. Kearney almost had it stolen from his toes by Cienza, but they managed to keep possession here, Fulham, and it's back now with Joachim Andersen inside his own penalty area. You are listening to the FA Cup live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply. 2 delivery orders subject to availability. Prices may vary. Castagna with some space on the edge of the Southampton penalty area, steered away by Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and then Flynn Downs out to Fellows in the sky blue boots over on that right hand side. He had Harrison Reed blocking his route towards the Fulham half. They've gone back now for their goalkeeper, Peretz. Just confirmation from the PGMOL that the ball was moving, and that's why the referee blew the whistle to have the goal kick taken. He also said that he had to check on the well-being of the injured Southampton player. That's why that Fulham goal was ruled out. So 2 different excuses there.
I've heard it all now. Oh my goodness.
Here's Oscar Bob. Tries to get the ball in his left foot. Urged to shoot by the Fulham fans. He's forced wide. He gets the shot away, and he's deflected onto the crossbar, I think, and behind for a corner.
Well, do you know what? The scoreline says 0-0, but it hasn't been a boring game by any stretch of the imagination. Both teams do look dangerous at given times, and that's what Oscar Bob can do. Just jinking in and out on his left foot, going past a couple of players, trying to cross the ball as a deflection. Peretz is pretty much beaten, but in the end it's just gone hit the crossbar and gone out for a corner.
That corner to be taken by Harrison Reed. Swung into the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed away by Jack Stevens, and then put tamely behind for a Southampton goal kick. We've got 90 seconds of the first half to play. It's still 0-0 here at Craven Cottage. Wimbledon 1, Northampton 0 is the latest score in League One. It's been a tough season for Northampton under Kevin Nolan. Not getting any better this afternoon. When the Saints Go Marching On is the song that is wafting around the West London air at the moment. And I think those travelling Southampton fans will be really encouraged with what they've seen from their team to this point.
Definitely.
Kyle Larin in the right wing position for the Saints goes down, but no free kick, says the referee, and it's going to be a Fulham throw in. Deep inside their own half. 2 added minutes, I'm being told, will be stuck on the end of this first period. As the throw-in is taken by Sessegnon, and here is Chukwueze. You've got good distance on that Sessegnon. Chukwueze on the edge of the penalty area. Pulls it back for Kearney, who can shoot from this kind of range, but opts to roll it out to his right, and Oscar Bob instead. Then Castagna into Kearney. And Harrison Reed might fancy letting fly against his former club. From the edge of the penalty area, he does so. In fact, he sort of dragged a cross-come shot to the corner of the 6-yard box. Muniz was there trying to get on the end of it, and it's turned behind by Stevens for a corner.
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's funny, when he got the ball about 25 yards out, he heard screams of shoot. And in the end, he did. And to be fair to Harwood Bellis, he gets just in front of Muniz there.
Well, he scored an absolute weldy here, didn't he? Harrison Reed against Liverpool earlier in this season. Got his first ever FA Cup goal to beat Stoke in the last round. And Southampton fans know all about him from his days at St Mary's. Confirmation of that 2 added minutes to the Fulham corner is so poor that it ends up back inside their own half with the goalkeeper Lecomte. And here is Joachim Andersen forward to Harrison Reed again, as we await the first goal on this FA Cup 5th round Sunday. 2 more commentaries to come over on Talksport. Port Vale against Sunderland, not far from kick-off there now. And Leeds against Norwich, which I think is a really intriguing game at Ellen Road, with Norwich in brilliant form in the Championship. Tomorrow night live on Talksport, we've got West Ham against Brentford, then a stack of European action Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Here comes Southampton. One last attack at the end of the half. Green with the ball in towards Larin. He got there ahead of Anderson, but he can't. Stretching every sinew, get a touch on the ball, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Did it? I
think they're saying he's offside anyway.
Right, yeah, offside. Was he? I'd like to see a replay of that. It's a wonderful ball in from Bree.
Well, they've got 2 fullbacks, haven't they, in Bree and Manning, who can really deliver. And, well, I'm not sure if he...
I think he was just a little bit offside. He was. It's actually a good decision from the referee's assistant. It was a great ball in. It really was. And again, just goes to show how dangerous Southampton can be when they do attack.
Sessegnon to Harrison Reed. 0-0 in stoppage time at the end of this first half. There's a bit of grappling inside the penalty area, but I think if anything, it was Oscar Bobb who was dragging Manning to the ground. And it will be the goalkeeper Peretz to volley this ball up towards the opposite 18-yard area, headed away by Cuenca, and then Kearney there ahead of Finazaz, and they've cleared it back to Peretz again. He tried to strike it first time, maybe that's why he's a goalkeeper, because he shanks it over to this left-hand side, but Southampton keep it in play. And good footwork from Azaz to get away from Reed initially, and then from Kearney, who I think was dragging him down there. The referee disagrees, and there goes the half-time whistle. Well, no goals, but no shortage of talking points. Fulham did have the ball in the back of the net. Rodrigo Muniz, after Daniel Peretz, the Southampton goalkeeper, tried to take a goal kick quickly, smashed it against his own teammate in Harwood Bellis. The referee blew. The PGMOL tell us because there was a rolling ball at the start of that goal kick, and therefore Muniz goal ruled out. VAR couldn't intervene because the whistle had been blown. Moments later, Leo Cienza racing clear one-on-one after a quick counter-attack, put his shot the wrong side of the post. But what will Marco Silva be thinking as he makes his way back to the dressing room at half-time? His team should be one up, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they should. I mean, I don't think necessarily, in terms of possession, they've had more of that. In terms of attempts at goal, they've had more of that. But actually, I think Southampton have more than given their all in terms of how dangerous they look in the final third. So it's definitely food for thought. I sort of argued that this is a good team. I still say it's a good enough team to beat any championship side that he's put out here, but he does have the big hitters on the bench, so he might think at some point, I'd be surprised if he does it at half time. He might give it another 10-15 minutes and see how it goes. Remember, this game could be 120 minutes, not just 90, so he's got certainly a lot of time to play with. But Southampton have just shown that they can be very, very dangerous on the break, and while I will argue that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't have been a goal, he wouldn't have stopped it back. So why do you stop a goal? Why do you stop it? Because it's gone in the back of the net. That Leo Cienza's had the best chance of the first half in open play. So there's a lot of food for thought for both of the managers.
And in Jarrod Gillett, you are talking about their experienced Premier League referee. He's made a big mistake, hasn't he?
They'll say to the letter of the law, no, a rolling ball, not allowed, so they can hide behind that. I'm sorry, that doesn't happen every time. You're not telling me, okay, I won't go with the argument that there's got to be the whistle blown at the start of every goal kick, but you're not telling me every goal kick that has a rolling ball, the referee says, no, take it back. I don't believe that's the case. I think he's panicked a little bit and thought, I don't quite know what's happened here. There's a guy on the floor, there's a rolling ball, there's probably quick communication between him and the referee's assistants, and look, to the letter of the law, he can argue he's done the right thing. I personally don't like it.
Well, Fulham have scored 17 of their last 21 goals in the second half of matches. Marco Silva will be hoping that holds this afternoon. His side 0-0 at the break with Championship Southampton. You are listening to the FA Cup live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders subject to availability. Prices may vary. After the break, we'll bring you second half live coverage of Fulham against Southampton right here on Talksport 2.
This is Talksport 2.
Lidl's garden season is a go! With new gardening gear every week, from potting and planting to outdoor furniture, 10 weeks from the 5th of March. We're just getting warmed up. Lidl, more to value. While stocks last, selected stores GB only. In store from the 5th of the 3rd, 26.
FA Cup Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m. subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Hello, I'm the new Deal or No Deal scratch card from the National Lottery. The banker called. He doesn't think you have what it takes to beat him. But forget that guy. Play me today and you could be one of millions of instant winners and show that mean old money grabber who the real big deal is.
Pick up the new Deal or No Deal scratch card in store today. Search Dream Big Play Small. Rules apply. 18 plus.
Go from someday to sunny days in Greece with package holidays from £329 per person. So stop dreaming of souvlaki. Stop scrolling crystal clear beaches. Search EasyJet Holidays and get your holiday in Greece sorted today. Get out there. Selected dates April to September. Limited availability. ATOL protected. T's and C's apply.
At Kia, we know that inspiration begins with a first. Your first job. Your first love. Your first home. Now it's time for your first drive in the new Kia EV2 at our first drive weekends. It's your chance to be one of the first to test drive the Kia EV2 with its innovative technology and elegant eye-catching design. It's small in size, but big in personality. Discover what driving electric really means. Search First Drive Weekends to reserve your place today.
Kia, movement that inspires.
People are tuning into radio more than ever. Advertise here and get your message heard by up to 6.5 million switched on listeners every week. Email radio@news.co.uk.
Welcome to the Speed Coaster.
With PlusNet, great broadband isn't just about award-winning routers. It's also about speed. Whoa! Before the 25th of March, whoa! Get full fibre that you can rely on with speeds up to 900 megabits available from $22.99 a month. That's a plus. $26.99 from the 31st of March 2027. New customers only. Limited availability. Terms apply.
Steve's storage just isn't keeping up. He's running out of room fast. He needs something smarter and flexible enough to grow with his business. Choose the Big Doug Big Series range. Designed for strength, flexibility and ready to reconfigure or expand as your business grows. From shelving and workbenches to trolleys, garment rails and racking, the Big Series can handle it all. So what are you waiting for? Time to sort your shelf out. Order today at bigdoug.co.uk.
We all love a good meal, but there's no feeling quite like cooking one. Whether it's everyone at yours for a Sunday roast or after-school sausage and mash. Quick, simple, gone in minutes. One thing brings it all together. Bisto. The original gravy. Rich, smooth, and unmistakable since 1908. When the gravy makes the dish, make the gravy. Bisto.
Your live sports station.
Oh, what a move. This is Talksport 2.
It's a triple stacked Wednesday night of Champions League football on the Talksport network.
From 5:45, Leverkusen take on Arsenal on Talksport 2. At 8, Real Madrid clash with Man City on Talksport, while PSG take on Chelsea on Talksport 2.
It's a wild Wednesday night of Champions League football on the Talksport network.
On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app, and on your smart speaker.
The FA Cup live on Talksport 2.
Evans, 1-1. Mansfield Town back on level terms. Now Eza, right-footed, blasts it into the top right-hand corner, and Arsenal are back ahead. In towards more, and headed in at the back post. It's 3-3. Bedlam in North Wales. The
10 men have done it against Chelsea in extra time. Oh, VAR's checking it for a potential offside, and the referee signals here that the goal is indeed ruled out. He shoots and seals it for Chelsea. João Pedro rolls it home. Chelsea have the final word, and they are into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup by the skin of their teeth.
Here's Mamouche, first time shot, brilliant goal. Omar Mamouche has probably won this cup tie for Manchester City, and it is Manchester City who make their way into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup.
The FA Cup has sounded so far this weekend across the Talksport network. 2 more live commentaries to come for you this afternoon over on Talksport. Half an hour there or thereabouts away from kick-off between Port Vale and Sunderland. Then at 4:30 this afternoon we're going to be at Ellen Road for Leeds against Norwich. And tomorrow night an all-London, all-Premier League showdown between West Ham and Brentford. That one also live on Talksport. You're listening to live commentary of Fulham against Southampton. The second half to come shortly here on Talksport 2. But for now, let's break down some of the action from yesterday in the 5th round of the competition. Mansfield 1, Arsenal 2. Made a lot of changes, Mikel Arteta, but a much more uncomfortable afternoon, Scott, than many people would have anticipated.
Yeah, I think he cheated, to be honest with you, by bringing on the players that he did. I mean, he's bang out of order. No, look, that's what the Arsenal squad's and he has to do. People talk about it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's still on at the moment, the quadruple. And if you've got that squad in a game, with the greatest of respect to Mansfield, I don't even have to say that really, then the second 11 of Arsenal should be able to win. But I mean, that was the beauty of the FA Cup, wasn't it? Apart from the underdog getting the win in the end. But the pitch, the conditions, trust me, they were great conditions when I was playing back in the day. Nowadays, you're sort of thinking, oh, you wouldn't see that in a Premier League stadium. But Mansfield gave it absolutely everything. It was a brilliant performance and result they got in the last round at Burnley. They ran Arsenal close. They needed to bring on the big guns, but in the end, Arsenal saw it through. I thought it was a wonderful advert for FA Cup in the way that I thought it was for all the games yesterday.
Arsenal go to Leverkusen in the first leg of their last 16 Champions League tie on Wednesday night. You can hear live commentary right here on Talksport 2. Last night, Manchester City came from behind. They beat Newcastle 3-1 to book their place in the quarter-finals. Let's hear from the City boss, Pep Guardiola. And after the game, he told Talksport he felt slighted after criticism following City's recent draw against Nottingham Forest.
I can read the comments after Nottingham Forest all about you, that everything is over. So, and the changes I did against Leverkusen was a disaster. How arrogant Presunto is the manager, right? And today, why a brilliant decision I take. So do me a favor, take time. So important, only I want is players fit and behave like today, you know. It's a final like it was, and yeah. And now Madrid, so only I can do.
Was he talking to you there? I mean, or about you?
Quite possibly. But listen, when you've set as high a standard as Manchester City have in recent seasons, when they don't put up any kind of title defence last season, and when they let a massive 3-point slip at home this season and give Arsenal the advantage, you are going to be criticised, aren't you? It comes with the job.
Well, it does nowadays, for sure, but you know what I think about Pep Guardiola? I think he's one of the greatest managers ever, and 4 straight top-flight titles. Last season, they were always going to fall away. There's only Manchester City that's putting up a fight against Arsenal this time around, and we mentioned that I don't think Arsenal will do it, but the quadruple's still on. Well, quadruple's still on for Manchester City as well. Let's see what happens in the Carabao Cup final. Let's see what happens in the Champions League. Let's see what happens in the FA Cup. And let's see if Arsenal are able to go and win almost every game, because they might have to. The thing is, I would say about the Premier League itself is the fact is, up until that game in midweek, it was in Manchester City's hands as well as Arsenal's, because the two of them are playing each other. Now it's just back in Arsenal's. I think Arsenal will drop points. I don't think they'll win every single game from here to the end of the season, but I don't see City winning every single game either.
Do you know my big takeaway from last night was not so much Manchester City, although an impressive victory and the manner in which they did it, having made so many changes. Worried about Newcastle. You know, the fact that City were able to make 10 changes and still win with ease, I think is a big concern. Nick Voltemade playing in midfield, that didn't work. I think they might have to cash in on him this summer. Elanga starts again, another signing that's underwhelmed. I know Sam Matterface is confident Newcastle beat Barcelona over 2 legs.
Is he?
I'm not.
I'm not. I don't see how he can be. What's the reasoning behind that? Is that just because English clubs should be able to beat anybody else?
He thinks that the first leg is at home and they'll get a decent advantage to take to the Camp Nou. But their home form, that win against Manchester United followed 3 successive Premier League defeats at St James's Park, and now they've been rolled over in the FA Cup there as well.
Yeah, look, what I would say is I thought that was a brilliant performance of Manchester City. Those first 20 minutes at Newcastle I thought was superb in front of the home fans, and City went a goal down. And you can't keep that up against the Manchester City side. They are that good with the ball. You will tie, and then they open them up even before the end of the game. But I think up until that particular match, Newcastle have actually been playing well. I thought, even the game that they lost recently to City, I must be fed up with playing Manchester City, but
5 times since November.
Exactly. I thought actually City had to find a way to win the game, and they did. I thought in the second leg of the Carabao Cup finals, Newcastle had a lot of chances, and I've seen a big improvement in Newcastle recently. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. Being in 12th position is not good enough. And Eddie Howe's come out and said, hasn't he, this is the biggest game in years up against Barcelona. It's not vintage Barcelona. I think Newcastle can do it. You just La Liga sort of, they change games. Ligue 1 cancel games. The Premier League doesn't do anything about that. And City have got an extra day, haven't they? Because they obviously played last night, and then they play on Wednesday against Real Madrid, whereas Newcastle, they're playing on Tuesday. Or is it Wednesday as well?
I think that's Wednesday as well.
Is it Wednesday as well? Well, at least they've got that extra day to recover from. But when you play against a Manchester City side, trust me, you are knackered for the next 48 hours. So I agree with you. Voltemado in midfield doesn't work. He can play as a second striker, but not as a typical midfielder. And, they all rely on energy, don't they? And to keep that up for the whole season, I think it's a very, very difficult thing to do. They'll need to take, I think, a 2-goal lead back to the Camp Nou if they are to get through.
And of course they've already lost to Barcelona at home in the league phase. Marcus Rashford particularly impressive on that occasion. Coming up, live commentary from the Champions League this week. Galatasaray Liverpool at 5:45 here on Talksport 2 on Tuesday. Atletico Madrid Tottenham, I know you're going to be there for that as well. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff on Talksport the same night. Newcastle do play against Barcelona on Tuesday, so updates from there. Wednesday we've got Leverkusen Arsenal 5:45 on Talksport 2, and then your choice of listening at 8 o'clock, Real Madrid against Manchester City on Talksport, and PSG against Chelsea on Talksport 2. And then Thursday, 3 commentaries from Europe. Lille Villa from the Europa League round of 16 first leg. That's a 5:45 kick-off on Talksport 2, followed by Palace Larnaca in the Conference League over on Talksport at 8 o'clock. Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland. The 2 sets of players are back out there. I wondered if Southampton might make a change at half-time. Kyun Matsuki, the Japanese midfielder, looked like he was stripped and ready to come on. Looks like he is going to take his seat in the dugout, and both teams will be unchanged for the second period. 0-0 at half-time. The big talking point in the first half, that goal ruled out by Jared Gillett. The ball turned into the back of an unguarded net by Rodrigo Muniz, but Gillett had already blown because Daniel Peretz, the Southampton goalkeeper, took a goal kick with a moving ball. He whacked it against his own teammate Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and VAR couldn't intervene because the referee had already made the decision on field by blowing the whistle. So no changes at half-time. It means Fulham will continue with Lecomte in goal, Castagna, Cuenca, Anderson and Sessegnon on the back 4, Reid and Kearney in midfield, Chukwueze, Smith-Rowe and Bob behind Muniz in attack. Southampton, who've got us restarted, they have Peretz in goal, Bree, Harwood-Bellis, Wood and Manning in defence, Downs and Yanda in midfield, with Fellows, Azaz and Cienza in behind Kyle, Larin in attack. Southampton in yellow jerseys with blue trim, blue shorts and yellow socks, shooting from left to right. Fulham all in white, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. It's Tom Kearney, the captain, in possession 10 yards inside the Fulham half, and he just rolls it to his left, and Joachim Anderson. Now Kearney comes over the halfway line into Oscar Bob, who was tripped from behind by Manning. Free kick for Fulham 7 yards inside the Southampton half. 0-0.
Yeah, I think both managers will just wait to see how the second half will go. Again, I mean, Marco Silva won't want extra time, but it's not as if they've got the midweek game. It's Southampton that have the midweek game. So he can play the full 120 minutes thinking of that. He's got the big hitters on the bench if he needs to try and change it. I think this team is good enough to beat Southampton, but I also think, what I've seen in the first half, that this Southampton side is good enough to nick a goal, and can they then keep a clean sheet?
Well, I mentioned, didn't I, going into half-time, that a lot of Fulham's goals of late have come in the second half of matches. That tells you that there's no concerns from a fitness perspective. And they do have a lot of big hitters to call upon from the bench should they need them. Anderson, good ball forward, down the right-hand side. Castagna into the penalty area, back for Mooney's header, 6 yards out, over the top of the bar, and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, really good play from Fulham. Castagna getting down the right-hand side, picking out Muniz, who's on his own. It's a great little ball over the top for him. Good run, first-time cross. And it comes in quickly. You know, you turn around and say, well, can you get over it? Because if it doesn't go straight at Peretz, with the power that it's come in, he's not going to save that. So it's about hitting the ball, hitting it on target, and he wasn't able to do that.
Here they come again, though, Fulham. Strong start to the second half. Bob into the penalty area, his cross flicks off Manning and loops up kindly into the arms of Daniel Peretz, and the Southampton goal. Just got a shot on our monitor of Harry Wilson munching away, one of the Fulham players unavailable this afternoon due to injury, but an interested spectator at Craven Cottage. And I tell you what, the food over in that Riverside stand must be decent. Hardly anyone has come back to take their seat yet for this second 45.
They're back in that heated swimming pool again and just drying themselves off.
Unbelievable. It's not the cheapest place to come and watch football. Why would you not be back in your seat as early as possible? Baffling. Here's Sessegnon. Down the line to Chukwueze. Sessegnon back now to Cuenca. Fulham dictating possession at the start of this second half, but still 0-0 with 48 minutes gone. Smith Rowe plays the ball into the Southampton half. It was cleared initially by Stevens, but picked up again on that right-hand side by Castagna. And now Oscar Bob hugging the far touchline into Harrison Reed, 30 yards out. Again, the cries of shoot goes up from the home supporters. Instead, he plays it out to Sessegnon wearing gloves. Not a particularly cold afternoon. Here's Chukwueze. Dancing feet to get away from Bree. Back to Harrison Reed, who does shoot this time from 20 yards out, but straight into the arms of Peretz.
I mean, it was a tap-in for him there, wasn't it? He was only 25 yards out there. But he's, you know, because he's a good passer of the ball, both long and short, he should have a good strike in him, and he does. He should be doing that more. You never know what can happen. It's a decent save, straight at him.
Southampton unbeaten in 9 coming into this game to mount a late push for a playoff place, but they have lost 7 of their last 8 FA Cup ties against top flight teams as a lower division side. They are proving a decent match here for Fulham. 0-0. We've played 50 minutes, so 5 minutes gone in the second half. You are listening to Talksport 2 on this busy FA Cup 5th round weekend. That's a good ball scoop forward by Anderson to get Castagna in behind Cienza. He does well there, Cienza, to dispossess the Belgium FA Cup winner with Leicester City, and it's cleared upfield, but over the head of Larin, and it will be collected by Cuenca, who makes sure he gets enough purchase on the pass to find his goalkeeper Lecomte, who's not had a save to make yet. Southampton, 4 shots in that first half, but none on target.
No, but the biggest chance of the whole game, if you discount that disallowed goal, did come from Leo Cienza, which he didn't hit the target.
Yeah, 1-on-1 with the French goalkeeper, but rolled his shot wide of the left-hand post, right in front of those Southampton supporters. Here's Oscar Bob. Fulham have started really well since half-time. Castagna back to Bob, tries to shift onto his left foot on the right corner of the penalty area, then plays it back to Kearney. Kearney with a chance to cross. Instead, he plays it to his right, and Anderson, who does whip the ball in. It's headed clear by Harwood Bellis. Back out to Anderson on the right-hand side. Southampton can't get out of their own half at the moment. Here's Kearney. Kearney forward looking for Bob. Again, well tracked by Yander in midfield. He just side-foots it back to Peretz to clear up towards halfway. 0-0.
Yeah, it's a little bit scrappy, which Southampton won't mind. And in the first half, where Southampton had played that ball over the top a couple of times in behind the Fulham defence, Fulham have done that now in the second half, certainly down that right-hand side, and look much more dangerous down the right than they are down the left.
Here's Oscar Bob, out to his right, and Castagna again. Muniz wanted the early ball, back to Bob instead. Kearney's in space, 25 yards from goal. Onto his left foot, Kearney goes for the chip shot towards the top corner. He lifts his effort high over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick.
Yes, Fulham's been the dominant side without really testing Peretz as yet. You know, it's what we expected in the first half. Didn't quite get as much as we thought. Fulham started off, again, dominating the ball like they are in the second, but Southampton came into it.
That's poor from Jack Stevens, trying to carry the ball out from the back. He's passed it straight to Anderson in the centre circle. Then Anderson was being manhandled by Yanda. So the referee, well, I thought he was going to give a free kick. Might be a bounce ball here, actually. Right in the centre of the Southampton half. Just going to return possession to Fulham. Maybe got in the way there, Jared Gillett. Harrison Reed to the boos from the Southampton fans. Plays it out to the right and Castagna. Now Kearney. Not much tempo about Fulham's play, but just trying to pick their way through with passes. Reed out to the right and Castagna again. And now Kearney over on the right-hand side. Plays it infield to Anderson just outside the penalty area. Reed forward to Oscar Bob. Bob, a £27 million January signing from Manchester City. Not seen as much game time in the Premier League since joining Fulham as he would have liked, but in from the start this afternoon. Here's Chukwueze now, the Nigerian, with the socks rolled down Jack Grealish style. And then he plays it forward to Sessegnon, who can't hold it up, and it's cleared up by Southampton into the Fulham half. And Sessegnon there ahead of Larin, who I think claimed he was being held on to.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham need to try and get Emil Smith-Rowe a little bit more into the game. He's the one who's been quiet. And if Marco Silva is to make a substitution, then perhaps he'll be the one coming off. I want to see him dominating these type of games.
And then there's a coming together. Tom Kearney involved. I think Fulham have got a free kick here. And the home fans, Scott, trying to give them vocal encouragement, because as much as they've dominated possession since half-time, it's all a bit laboured, isn't it?
Yeah. It's, you know, Southampton, I'd say pretty comfortable. But again, I go back to the fact that I suppose they're just trying to make sure that they can keep pace with the Premier League side. But you know, they're the one who's playing Wednesday. They're the one who doesn't really want extra time. I wonder if there will be substitutions, or maybe just trying to get the ball forward a lot more in the last 15-20 minutes. Whereas it is Fulham who have the free week and, you know, got the players off the bench. So really this should be geared towards a Fulham win, but they're not able to break this stubborn Southampton side down yet.
Harrison Reed over the free kick, puts both arms up in the air. The red-haired midfielder, number 6 on the back of his Fulham jersey, towards Anderson at the far post, headed down, goalkeeper saves it, and then it's touched in from close range by Castagna, but immediately the assistant was flagged for offside. I don't know if that was against Anderson for the first header or Castagna when he tucked in the rebound, but either way, looks like this goal won't stand.
Yeah, Marco Silva's not sure either. He's looking at his monitor to see exactly what happened. I mean, there's a lot of bodies in the box. And initially, Peretz makes the save.
Well, we're going to watch it now. VAR are checking it. Well, I think it's when the ball comes in initially and it's met by Anderson. I think he's the wrong side of Manning. Goalkeeper pushes it back out into a dangerous area. Castagna is onside for my money, but it's Anderson in the initial move, and therefore the decision is correct.
Correct decision. Anderson, again, is about looking just across the line. Ryan Manning, initially he's the only one who drops off and looks like he's keeping him onside, but then he realises he is the last man and just stops. And Anderson just keeps on running, and by the time the free kick is taken, Anderson is in an offside position. It's a correct decision.
That would have been Timothy Castagna's first goal in more than a year, but the VAR check over quickly and it stays. Fulham 0, Southampton 0. 10 minutes gone in the second half. That one much less controversial than the goal that was ruled out in the first period.
Two goals disallowed for Fulham. That one I do agree with. And look, going back to the other one, they'll say to the letter of the law and that it's in the law. My question is, so every time there's a rolling ball of a goal kick, the referee stops it, does he? No, not even that.
I think you're right. He stops it because he knows it's going to end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think he almost panicked and didn't realise what happened.
I wonder if he thought it was a foul initially as well as I did when Hartman
I don't think he saw it. I wonder if he had his back to play. Talking about Tyrell Malacia not having his back to play.
Well, I definitely have my back to play. Here's Sessegnon, left wing position for Fulham. Deep ball to the far post over the head of Muniz, but kept alive by Castagna. Downs flicks it clear, only as far as Harrison Reed brings it down the volley and then thumps it right-footed over the crossbar. But you sense a Fulham goal could be coming here.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham have been very good at the start of the second half. They have dominated not just the possession, but they've looked more dangerous in the final third as well. Already got the ball in the back of the net correctly for offside, but they are creating chances. They're getting closer and closer. I mean, what I would say is that Perret still perhaps isn't being worked quite enough, but you do feel they're just stepping up from the second gear to third gear, and if they hit fourth gear, then Southampton might have to watch out.
Goalkeeper's ball is picked up on the halfway line by Bree. Back to Harwood Bellis, the Saints skipper, with the club captain Jack Stevens among the subs this afternoon. Ball from Perret's out to Bree. Can't keep it in play. Right in front of us here in the main stand, the oldest of the four stands here at Craven Cottage, and the throw-in to be taken by Sessegnon. 0-0. And we've played 12 minutes since half-time. Still no sign of either manager making changes yet, as Fulham look to play their way out from the back with Cuenca, the Spaniard. Forward to Harrison Reed in midfield for the home side. Now Anderson, who really has dictated the proceedings from the back. His header from an offside position turned in the rebound by Castagna. Second time in the game that Fulham have had the ball in the back of the net without taking the lead. That was a good challenge by Manning on the edge of the centre circle. The ball falls kindly for Larin. This really Southampton's first meaningful attack since half-time. Larin into the penalty area. Opportunity here for Fellows. Gets the shot away. Left-footed from a tight angle. Saved by the legs of Lecomte. Just a warning sign for Fulham.
Yeah, and then that's what Southampton did in the first half. They did look dangerous on the counter-attack. You know, Tom Fellows, he does everything right in a way. He's on his left foot, so he just concentrate on getting it on target. It's a decent save from the keeper. But again, if you are to go through to the next round, these are the opportunities you have to put away. Just talked about how Fulham have been very good in the second half and are stepping it up. Now, Southampton might have fewer and fewer chances in this second half. Got to score there.
Well, officially, that's their first shot on target. Foul there by Nathan Wood on Oscar Bob, so it's going to be a free kick for Fulham. Southampton felt actually they should have had a free kick for a challenge on Yander much earlier in the play, but referee Jarrett Gillett disagrees. Going to watch a replay now. And he was caught in the face by Kearney Yander. I don't think it was intentional, but certainly you can see why they're complaining. Anderson, meanwhile, floats the free kick out this left-hand side, looking for Chuck Wayze, headed away by Jamesbury and out for a Fulham throw. 0-0 on Talksport 2. They're not too far from kick-off now over on Talksport, where Port Vale are taking on Sunderland in the fifth round of the FA Cup. Will it be all Premier League come the quarter-finals, or can one of these EFL sides provide an upset on fifth round Sunday? Here's Oscar Bob into the penalty area, onto his left foot, urged to shoot by the Fulham fans, blocked by Manning, put his body on the line there. Chance not yet gone away because Kearney tries to play it forward to Smith Rowe, and it is cleared into the centre circle by Southampton. You could hear the groans of frustration from the Fulham supporters. He just took a little bit too long, I think, Oscar Bob, to make his mind up and pull the trigger. By the time he did, he was very quickly closed down by Manning, who made the block. Underway at Ibrox in the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup, 0-0 there. Still Wimbledon 1, Northampton 0 in League One. And here at Craven Cottage, it remains goalless in this Premier League against Championship tie. Flynn Downs forward to Cienza for the Saints. Cienza skipping away from Smith Rowe, looking for Larin. Anderson stretches out a leg and makes the block, and then it's going to be cleared away, or it should be, by Lecomte, but showed a little bit too much of that nearly to Flynn Downs before eventually finding Oscar Bob over on the far side, and he can't keep it in play. Saints have a throw, and they're just warming to the task, Scott Minto, in this second half, the team for the Championship.
Yeah, I think that's what we saw in the first half. Again, the first few minutes, the Premier League side dominating, but then Southampton realising they can maybe get a goal.
Here's Sessegnon towards the penalty area. Oh, heavy touch from Muniz, and that allows the goalkeeper Peretz to come out and collect the ball. And there maybe is a sign that ring rustiness from Muniz that I was talking about in the first half, having missed a lot this season, injured. There's Larin at the other end. Well, the assistant has dropped his flag. Larin goes through on goal, dragged his shot wide, but again, I think the referee had already blown for an infringement, Scott Minto.
Why? Larin is just through on goal. His first touch has taken him in behind of the Fulham defender. So why not just let it go?
Because they've blown for a foul, I think, on Cienza, on their own player.
It was a foul. He was fouled, but play on. Because he's played the ball inside, and then Finazaz has played a wonderful ball in behind Anderson. Larin's take a really good touch, which means that Anderson has a decision to make whether if he brings him down as a goal scoring opportunity, it's a red card, or he lets him go and then he's got a chance of one-on-one. So why are you actually stopping the game there? Let it go for a few seconds and see what could happen.
Well, I wonder if there may have been a suggestion Larin would have been offside. It would have certainly been a tight call, but it was quite similar to a chance in the game I was watching at St James's Park last night, where Reinders goes through. His first touch is superb to make the shooting opportunity, and he drags the effort wide, much like Larin did there.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you're absolutely right. Larin didn't hit the back of the net, so it wouldn't really have mattered in that sense. But I just think from a refereeing point of view, just give it a beat, give it a second or two. Wait to see if this dangerous counter-attack can prove to be a dangerous one. And it certainly was, because he had a shot on goal inside the box. Yes, it was wide in the end, but again, if it had hit the inside of the net, then it wouldn't have counted because he blew his whistle too early.
I don't think it helped that the assistant on this near side actually dropped his flag as well. It was a comedy of errors, really, from the officials, but...
Benny Hill.
No harm done in the end. 0-0. Cienza, by the way, looks like he's in a bit of trouble following that tackle. He's hobbling as he's left the pitch on this near side. At the moment, I wonder if Southampton are going to have to make a change. I was going to say, I don't see anybody stripped ready for action. Larin has just come over for a drink of water. How are they going to restart play here then? Is the question. It's going to be a Southampton free kick.
Yeah. And Cienza isn't coming off unless he's really hurt, because, you know, this is the type of game that someone like him should be absolutely loving. You're playing at a Premier League stadium and everybody watching, more so than normal. He's definitely fouled and it's caught him. But, you know, unless his leg's hanging off, I think he'll come back on.
Well, we are going to get a Fulham change in a moment. Southampton, meanwhile, have taken the free kick, and Finazaz runs the ball out of play over on the far side. So the Fulham substitution, Sander Berger is going to come on. In fact, Alex Iwobi is going to come on. And off goes Tom Cairney. Next time there's a stoppage in play. 0-0, Fulham against Southampton. There was a yellow card, by the way, as well, shown to Cuenca for that challenge on Cienza that led to all the confusion. First booking of the afternoon.
I personally would be taking off Emil Smith-Rowe and putting on Josh King. Alex Iwobi, to be fair, has done excellent. He's very good in one of those sort of two holding positions for this season. I think Tom Cairney's done okay, along with Harrison Reed. I think that's been the problem. But Alex Iwobi certainly adds something different. He loves to get forward as well.
Yeah, 4 goals to his name this season. Part of the Arsenal side that won this grand old competition back in 2017, Alex Iwobi. And Tom Cairney, very popular figure in these parts, signed the new deal at the end of last season when he looked like he might be leaving at one stage, gets a warm ovation from the home supporters. So that's the first substitution from either manager. 0-0, Fulham against Southampton, live on Talksport 2 this afternoon. Still no goals in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. Rangers 0, Celtic 0. Wimbledon lead Northampton by a goal to 0, and they're not far from kick-off now over on Talksport. Port Vale taking on Sunderland in the FA Cup. Here's Emil Smith-Rowe looking for Oscar Bob. If he can find Chukwueze, he would have had a clear run at goal. It's well defended in the end. James Bree winning it back inside the penalty area. Not a great clearance though, intercepted by Castagna. And then Iwobi back to the Belgian Castagna. Harrison Reed, now wearing the captain's armband, picks it up midway inside the Southampton half, away to our left. And here is Reed, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Finds Iwobi on the far touchline into Castagna, back to Iwobi. Neat play from the substitute, gets it back from Oscar Bob, and then Rodrigo Muniz with a shot, hooks it over the top of the crossbar from 12 yards out. Lovely play down that right hand side between Bob and Iwobi in the build-up.
Yeah, and that's what Alex Iwobi can do. He doesn't just sit in there, he loves to try and get forward. He's coming off the wing as well. These nice little 1-2s that he had with Castagna, and then with Oscar Bob as well. He plays the ball back, and to be fair, Muniz, he's unlucky there. He has to take it first time. He's ahead of the near post, so he's trying to almost flick it, and he's flicked it just over.
Timothy Castagna, under pressure from Fellows, has to head the ball out of play over on the far side for a Southampton throw. Fulham FA Cup runners-up in 1975, lost to a West Ham side, including the great Sir Trevor Brooking by 2-0. They have reached a UEFA Cup final since then, beaten by Atletico Madrid, but in terms of domestic honours, that's as close as they've come. Southampton won this trophy in 1976, as I already mentioned, beat Manchester United as a second division side as Sienza comes into the penalty area, challenged by Anderson, then Castagna's clearance hits Larin and goes out for a throw. They were finalists as well in 2003. I think the man next to you, Joe Tesson, working for local radio, was in the Southampton team that day that lost 1-0 to Arsenal in Cardiff.
Yeah, and they're wearing the commemorative colours of the shirts of the day 50 years ago. And I thought Tondo Eckert spoke really well about he understands this is a special year. He doesn't want to give it up. And do you know what? In many respects, you kind of feel, even for Fulham, you think this could be a good year for them, but actually the big boys are still in there and you know that they will be dangerous. But I just believe in trying to win football matches, and it's amazing how positive you feel and not tired you feel if you go on a winning run rather than a losing one.
Easter weekend, the quarter-finals will take place in the FA Cup. No Premier League fixtures that weekend, so Fulham go out today. They're not going to play a huge amount of football between now and the international break at the end of March. Just two games, as you said.
We used to play 2 games in 3 days.
Well, next year there'll be no Easter fixtures in the Premier League or the Championship because it falls on an international break, which is a shame in many ways. As the ball is punted forward towards the Fulham penalty area, Cuenca heads it back to his goalkeeper, the underworked Lecomte.
I agree, by the way. Christmas especially, but even Easter, special times in English football. Should never really lose that on a long-term basis.
I think it is just a quirk of fate, the fact they've already penciled in the international break, and obviously Easter is interchangeable each year, so I don't think it's going to be for the future, but it's been a long time actually since the days when Premier League clubs were playing a Good Friday and an Easter Monday. That hasn't happened for a while. Harrison Reed has been caught in possession inside his own half here by Azad's, and an opportunity maybe for Yander to roll the ball in towards Sienza again. Could he have hit it? Yander in space on the edge of the penalty area. He tried to play the pass. Fulham have won it back and break away with Iwobi. Now Chukwueze on the near side for Fulham. I mean, there really isn't much between these two teams, is there?
No, there isn't. And, I think Alex Iwobi already has come on and made a little bit of a difference. He's a little bit more dynamic. I like Tom Kearney a lot as a player. I think he's been a wonderful servant, and his left foot, he can open a can of beans with that left foot. But, he is one of the two holders alongside Harrison Reed, who will stay in there, whereas Alex Iwobi will be vertical. He'll run forward. He's already starting to make a difference. Again, there's more options off the bench if Marco Silva wants to go there. But again, it's not as if the Premier League side in this occasion are desperate to not have extra time. It's almost the opposite here.
Well, we're going to see a double Southampton change in a moment. Cameron Bragg and the lesser spotted Ross Stewart, whose injury record I've already highlighted, are going to come on. As the ball is played into the penalty area, Finazaz gets the shot away, deflects, and off the crossbar and behind. I think the goalkeeper was beaten by that deflection.
Well, I wonder whether he just got a little bit of a touch on it in the end. But you're right, the ball was again a really good forward ball into Finazaz, who turns on it with his first touch. Ryan Manning on the ball. It's a great first touch. He gets the shot in. There's a deflection there from Cuenca.
I'm not sure the goalkeeper does get fingertips on it. We're going to see a better view here. Oh, he does.
Yeah.
You're right, Scott Minto. It's his fingertips that turn the ball onto the bar. Otherwise, Southampton will be in front here at Craven Cottage. As it is, they have a corner with Larin and Bragg ready to come on. Larin going off for Stewart and Bragg ready to come on for Yander as well. In comes the corner. Headed across his own 6-yard box by Castagna, and then cleared away by Samuel Chukwueze for Muniz to chase. But he's looking a little bit tired now. And Yander back to his goalkeeper. Peretz, 0-0. Southampton inches away from taking the lead. As Bree flicks it on, looking for Fellows ahead of him. Did he get a nudge in the back there from Cuenca? He was offside anyway. So it's a free kick, and here come these Southampton changes that I was talking about. I mean, Ross Stewart, when he's fit and firing, is a handful as he comes on for Larin. And Cam Bragg started the last championship game, replaces Yander in midfield as well. the 20-year-old academy product. So fresh legs in key areas, Scott Minto.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cameron Bragg has done really well since he's come into the first team. It looks like he could be a Southampton player for many years, and certainly gives great depth of that possible, holding midfielders there. So it's good to see him doing well, coming through the ranks. And you're right, Ross Stewart, when he's fit, he's a handful.
Fulham 0, Southampton 0. We are 20 minutes away from possible extra time and penalties in this fifth round FA Cup tie. Sessegnon with the ball forward to Chukwueze. Now Iwobi, 10 yards outside the area, rolls it out to his right-hand side and Oscar Bob. Castagna made the underlapping run, headed away by Harwood Bellis. Still alive here for Fulham. Iwobi into Emil Smith-Rowe inside the penalty area. Sessegnon with a cross that's blocked by Bree. And then Cienza gets there ahead of Emil Smith-Rowe. It's a meek challenge from the former Arsenal man. Cienza making his way into Fulham territory. Oh, it's a poor pass in the end through the legs of Harrison Reed, but straight to Castagna. Excellent play initially to leave Emil Smith-Rowe on his backside from Cienza. Now Sessegnon, bright pink boots on this near side for Fulham. 0-0, 18 to play on Talksport 2 this afternoon. You feel, Scott, one goal either way might just be enough.
Yeah, might be one of these games where first goal wins it. Never thought that, and it was the way that the first half was going. And obviously Cienza had that wonderful chance in the first half that Fulham had that goal disallowed, and you're thinking, well, there will be goals in this game, but the longer it goes on, it does look like the first goal could be the most important.
That's why every decision is scrutinised so much. Flynn Downs has picked up a yellow card, the first Southampton booking. He could have had good money on that, actually. Flynn Downs, when you look at his disciplinary record, 35 yellows before today, 97 appearances, including 11 this season.
I can see why he's angry though, and Tonda Eke is very angry at it as well. Not even a foul in the first place, but then...
Has he been booked for the foul or for the reaction?
I think he's been booked for the reaction.
Slapping the floor in frustration, shouting expletive at the referee as well. So 12 bookings now for Flynn Downs this season, but I make you right, I'm not sure there was much of a foul there on Harrison Reed, I think it was he was tangling with.
It was 50-50, it was a good little physical battle.
Here's Chukwueze, leaving it on the edge of the area for Iwobi, pokes it forward into that box. Sessegnon's cross is quickly charged down by Harwood Bellis and collected by the fleet-footed Cienza once more. Back to the goalkeeper Peretz, who's able to clear upfield, but only to Cuenca. And Fulham will build from the back once more with Harrison Reed now inside the centre circle. You're listening to Talksport 2 on FA Cup 5th round Sunday, 0-0 here at Craven Cottage. And they've just kicked off at Vale Park, Port Vale against Sunderland live on Talksport. Forward to Harrison Reed inside the area. Loose ball falls kindly for Castagna, and he gets the shot away left-footed. The goalkeeper wasn't going to get there, and it just scoots the wrong side of the right-hand post and behind for a goal kick.
Well, we've seen quite a few shots today that have just scooped the wrong side of the post, haven't we? There's another one there. The ball just falls to Castagna and is on his left foot. He takes it first time. It's a decent strike, but because it comes... If it was his right foot, maybe he'd have more control on the ball. Off his left foot, it's just come off the sort of side of his left foot and therefore just spun away from the post rather than stayed and held its line.
You're listening to the FA Cup live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus, fees applied to delivery orders, subject to availability. Prices may vary.
That's what the fans should have done and not missed any of the football the second half.
Well, they're just about taking their seats now, all those... latecomers for the start of what's been another entertaining half of football, but still no goals. 15 minutes to play. Here's Castagna, who's seeing more of the ball in this second 45. Crosses blocked behind, and it'll be a Fulham corner kick over on that right hand side, the corner of the ground where the travelling supporters meet their home counterparts. Come on Fulham is the cry. These fans won't want extra time. Not sure Marco Silva will either. That's where we're heading, unless we can find a goal in the last 15 minutes. Oscar Bob whips it in, headed away by Harwood Bellis. I think it's been immense. In fact, that was Nathan Wood this time, but both of them really good at the heart of the Southampton defence. Here's Iwobi. Down the line to Smith Rowe, near left-hand side as we look from the press gantry at Craven Cottage. Iwobi with the ball in, headed clear by James Bree. Cienza trying to get there ahead of Harrison Reed, but Reed helps it back into his own half, and Sessegnon.
Alex Iwobi 25 yards out. As he's side-footing that ball, I'm thinking, why not have a shot like he did against Spurs? That incredible side-foot shot from outside the box that Vicario couldn't get anywhere near, to put power on it with the instep. Well, not even the instep, the inside of your foot. And it certainly was a very good goal.
Well, as an ex-Arsenal man, he would certainly have enjoyed that one, Alex Iwobi.
Absolutely.
Dispossessed there, though, by Downs on the halfway. Iwobi. Downs comes forward, doesn't really have the pace to get away from his man, so plays it back to Cam Bragg, just on the edge of the centre circle. Nathan Wood out to his left, and Manning for Southampton in their yellow shirts. Bragg now trying to escape the attentions of Chuck Wayze, but he's been forced back into his own half, and then Manning clips it forward, and it's been brought down by Ross Stewart there, appealing for handball. Looked like his chest to me, and the referee Jarrett Gillett had a good view and says play on. Here's Fellows now with a chance to cross from the left-hand side. Instead it was Bragg with the ball forward, but lacked purpose, and it's cleared away by Iwobi, and now there's a wrestling match going on between Wood and Muniz. Back to Iwobi, just inside the Saints half. Sessegnon will come flying forward down the left. He's got Smith Rowe outside of him. Smith Rowe now into the penalty area. Back for Sessegnon, shoots. Takes a big deflection off the sliding captain Harwood Bellis, and it loops over the bar behind for a Fulham corner.
Brilliant clearance, absolutely brilliant clearance after fantastic play from Fulham down the left-hand side. Sessegnon giving Smith Rowe the ball, and he goes forward, but he's inside Smith Rowe. As the two Southampton players go towards the player with the ball, Sessegnon's free. Its first touch is really good, and then he hammers it. I'm not sure Peretz would have any chance at all if that's on target, and a yard or so either side of the keeper. It's a brilliant sliding challenge.
I make this Fulham's 10th corner. Harrison Reed towards the far post. Anderson nods it down inside the penalty area. Muniz went for the overhead kick, didn't make clean contact, and it's picked up now by Sessegnon midway inside the Saints half. Back out to Harrison Reed, who just took the dead ball. 0-0 with 12 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Iwobi finds Bob. Bob with a cutback. Again, it hits a Southampton man and goes behind for corner number 11 for the Cottagers.
Yeah, they're knocking at the door now, and they Southampton on the back foot. You're right. It's almost as if the Fulham side definitely don't want to go further than 90 minutes, even though they can. And Southampton are giving it all they can, to be fair. They've made the travelling fans very proud, and this tie is still very much in the balance, but you feel if someone's going to score, it will come from Fulham.
Harrison Reed to take the corner. Near post delivery this time, but a good header away by James Bree. They just look a little bit short of energy now, Southampton. Maybe that extra physical fitness is going to win the day for Fulham. Ball into the area. Anderson looked to me like he was manhandling Harwood Bellis. No free kick given, and they're not away yet, Southampton. And then Anderson was a bit overzealous as he tried to regain possession from Finn Azaz, and the free kick has been given. Celtic have taken the lead at Ibrox in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. Dejan Maeda with the goal. 1-0 to Martin O'Neill's men in that big game north of the border. Underway over on Talksport. Port Vale 0, Sunderland 0, 8 minutes gone there. And it's still Fulham 0, Southampton 0 late in the play here at Craven Cottage. A busy day of football up and down the British Isles. That's just how we love it on Talksport.
Absolutely. Brilliant. I was at Ipswich yesterday, here today. Looking forward to Madrid during the week as well.
I bet you are.
Great football.
It's the worst places to be sent to work away from home. What are you at the Wanda Metropolitano on Tuesday night, and then at the Bernabeu on Wednesday?
Correct.
I want your agent.
Is that you saying that? You're everywhere.
Here's Emil Smith Rowe over the halfway line for Fulham. Into the last 10 minutes we go. Oscar Bob, who switched out to this left-hand side, plays it to Iwobi, just on the D on the edge of the Southampton area. Back to Bob in the yellow footwear again. Southampton having to keep their concentration here as Fulham come on strong late in the game, and Oscar Bob goes down. A hopeful look towards the referee. It was the challenge from James Bree, who doesn't look entirely innocent as the goal kick is given. I'd like to get a second look at that, Scott. We're going to see it now. Good feet from Oscar Bob. How much of the ball did he get?
No, he doesn't get any of the ball. I still don't feel, I mean, Oscar Bobb's, he's got inside the box. I mean, he'll say he's kind of protected the ball. James Bree shouldn't be making that challenge. You have to stay on your feet, and that's the challenge of a defender, because I might have been there once or twice back in the day, Crookie, where you're tired and you got a really nippy winger, or certainly skillful winger up against you. You don't want to allow him to put in a cross, but you cannot make those type of challenges. He hasn't got the ball. He has made contact. I'm not sure there's enough contact, but on another day, that definitely would have been given as a penalty.
Well, no penalty is the decision, and Southampton are making 2 more substitutions. Tom Fellows replaced by Sam Edozie, and Leo Cienza's afternoon is over as well. Kuryu Matski, who scored a couple of goals in that recent 5-0 demolition that I watched against QPR, is coming on. I don't think Fulham will be too disappointed, Scott Minto, that Cienza has made way.
No, I think he's looked very dangerous at times. I think since that challenge he had earlier, it hasn't quite been as effective. So, not bad substitutions from, again, let's face it, let's be honest, the manager who doesn't want to go into extra time. So why not try and win the game within 90 minutes?
Yeah, Southampton travelling to West Brom, big game in the Championship affecting both ends of the table. Southampton looking for a playoff place. West Brom facing a grim battle to avoid relegation to League One. They faced off at the Hawthorns on Wednesday. Tom Fellows getting a warm ovation as he makes his way off in front of the Southampton fans behind that goal to our left. It was quite an industrious afternoon from him, wasn't it, the former Middlesbrough man?
Yeah, it hasn't really happened for him as yet at Southampton. We know he's a quality player, certainly a second-tier level. He's not a wing-back. He much prefers the position he was in. It was a great opportunity for him, but yeah, he did well. He did okay.
Former West Brom man, I should say. So it's a meeting of his 2 former clubs on Wednesday. Here is Harwood Bellis. Rolls the ball out to the right-hand side, and the ex-Manchester City youngster Edozie, who's just come on. Pass looking for Downs is well dealt with by Fulham, and Chukwueze now trying to bring it down. He's been robbed of possession by Edozie, and then a bit of a mix-up between Edozie and Bree on this right-hand side ends up with a throw-in for Fulham, 0-0.
You know what? It's 0-0. Plenty of time for either side to get the goal, but you would probably... I know you're not a betting man, Crookie, but chances of extra time, we're going to spend an extra half an hour here, maybe even penalties as well.
Get the overtime slipped in, that's what I say. That Celtic goal, by the way, has been ruled out following a VAR review, so it's still 0-0 between Rangers and Celtic. Goalless here as well at the Cottage, 84 on the clock. Fulham against Southampton. Nathan Wood being put under pressure inside his own half, and they're giving the ball away. Southampton. Smith Rowe slides it forward to Iwobi, but it's won back by Matski. And then Cam Bragg forward to Flynn Downs in midfield. This is Bree on the right-hand side for Southampton. He got the late winner in extra time against Leicester in the last round, so they've been the distance once already, Southampton, in this competition. Harwood Bellis out to Bree. Edozie's made a good run to his right. He's really picked up at the moment. Bree looks to cross instead, and it wasn't the best ball in. It's easily collected by the goalkeeper Lecomte.
But what he's looking for there, he's looking for a bit of movement up front. And Ross Stewart, he's not trying to get in behind. James Bree could have just kept the ball and passed it out to Edozie, but then Fulham would have had time to get more players behind. So he's looking for that little movement in behind, and that's something which perhaps Southampton have lacked today. Lewin probably does it better than Ross Stewart.
Ball forward towards Stewart, but too much purchase on it, and again Lecomte in a good starting position. Collects. I think we're going to see your man Josh King next time there's a stoppage in play. Emil Smith Rowe, I'm told, will be making way. So another Fulham change with 5 minutes to go. Here is Smith Rowe, no edge of the area. Forward to Sessegnon, this is the chance. Great save at the near post by Perret. I tell you what, it may even have hit him in the face, the Southampton goalkeeper. Either way, he's made himself big, and he's denied Sessegnon what would have been the winner.
Yeah, it's a great save. It doesn't matter whether it comes off your hands, your arms, your legs, or right on your bugle. Just make yourself as big as possible. He's staying down, but he's saying he's okay. And again, Fulham knocking at the door, really good movement. And Chukwueze finds himself, and there's 2 players at the far post that Look, I don't necessarily blame him for having the shot there, because Nathan Wood is tight on Muniz. You've got Ryan Manning who's close to Oscar Bob, so please don't tell me any of those two that he should be passing. But yeah, it's caught him right on the jaw. He can take a punch for sure.
Well, we're going to get a stoppage here as a result of that save by Daniel Peretz. Could be a big moment if Southampton go on and win this tie.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say is with Chuck Wasey, you almost, sort of classic, you're taught from even at youth team level, when the angle's tight, go for the far post. Even if the keeper makes a save, if you hit it hard enough, it's very rare that they'll be able to actually catch it, so they'll just parry it out towards the goal. Whereas if you're shooting towards the near post, that's exactly what happened there. It comes off his face and then goes off for a corner. And you got 2, maybe 3 Fulham players following it in. And maybe they could have got there ahead of the players that were marking them and tapped it into an empty net. But it's a very good save for sure.
Well, he's back on his feet now, Peretz, and it's going to be a corner to be taken down the Fulham left. A dozen of these corners now. Harrison Reed stands over it in front of the cottage towards the far post, and well, that's easy for Peretz, straight into the arms of the goalkeeper.
Do you know what it is? It's brilliant goalkeeping. It's brave goalkeeping, because he's just been absolutely whacked from 5 yards away. That's caught him flush on the face, and yet the very next play he's looking to come out and catch the ball.
Long ball forward into the Fulham penalty area, over the head of Azaz, and it bounces off Sessegnon, and it will be cleared by the right back Castagna. 88 minutes gone. Fulham 0, Southampton 0. A goal now for either team surely puts them in the quarter-finals. Sam Adozi was dragged to the floor by Sessegnon. Referee was going to give a free kick, but Southampton still in possession, so he says play on. And Nathan Wood back to his goalkeeper now, Peretz away to our left. There's a nervous hush around Craven Cottage as Southampton keep the ball well. Ross Stewart, the former Sunderland man, the Loch Ness Drogba, as Adrian Durham likes to call him, holds it up well and plays it back into the Southampton half, where it's collected by the spindly looking Cam Bragg, the 20-year-old. Oh, when the Saints go marching in, sing the travelling supporters. Are they going to march into the 5th round? We're going to need a late winner here to avoid an extra half an hour with the score locked at 0-0. You wonder at the moment, Scott, if both teams almost settle for the extra half an hour because the tempo of the game has slowed right down.
Yeah, look, I don't think Fulham are, because I think they're trying to, create chances, and they have created chances. They're trying to press when they possibly can. It's almost Southampton not trying to survive, but just trying to make sure that they, are not too much under pressure. They're trying to get the ball up to Ross Stewart when they possibly can. Yeah, this is a game where two teams it's not looked like they've not wanted to be here. They're certainly brewing on the front foot, but they've almost cancelled each other out, and that's credit to Southampton.
Confirmation of that Fulham change. Josh King, the exciting teenager, replaces Emil Smith-Rowe for the final minute, plus maybe extra time. We're going to get 6 added on at the end of the 90, I'm told. And it's still Fulham 0, Southampton 0. Fulham twice have had the ball in the back of the net. One goal ruled out for offside in the second half, one controversially in the first. But here's Azaz. Fulham were caught playing the way from the back. Azaz has gone down, and the referee says penalty. A penalty for Southampton in the last minute of the 90. It was Joachim Andersen with a clumsy challenge after initially they passed it straight to Southampton. Stewart quickly put it forward into the path of Azaz, who never really looked to have the ball under control. But I think in a way the fact he miscontrolled it, that forced the error from Andersen, and Southampton have the opportunity here to maybe book themselves a place in the quarter-finals.
Yeah, first of all, do you know what? It's a definite penalty. They're checking for offside. He's not offside. Well done to Ross Stewart for playing the ball first time, not bringing it down and then trying to turn and see if he can do something. He absolutely knew where Finn Azaz was, in between the two Fulham defenders, and if he played it first time, he'd have a great chance to go past the final defender. Then Azaz did really well in nicking the ball past Andersen and getting the contact. Definite penalty.
And it will be Ross Stewart with 2 goals in his last 3 appearances off the bench to maybe win the game in stoppage time. We're into the first of 6 added minutes. It is Ross Stewart against Lecomte, the Fulham goalkeeper. He takes a long run up Stewart. The goalkeeper goes the right way, but he can't keep it out. And Southampton are heading for the FA Cup quarter-finals. The away fans jumping with joy away to my left. There is a cup upset in the air at the Cottage, because in stoppage time it is Fulham 0, Southampton 1.
And it's been absolutely brilliant from the Championship side. Look, Fulham have been the better side, and certainly in the second half, but you'd expect that with the players that they've got. This has not been a smash and grab, though. It's not over yet. Fulham still have a few more minutes to stay in the FA Cup. But Southampton, the Championship side that aren't even in the playoff places as yet, got rid of the manager early in the season. They're climbing up the table, have come to a Premier League side. They've kept a clean sheet so far, and they've gone down the other end. And we said the first goal could win this, and there's every chance of that happening. Well done, Ross Stewart, for holding his nerve.
It's a brilliant penalty, because the goalkeeper not only goes the right way, he gets a hand to it, but he's got so much power, there's no way of stopping it finding the bottom corner.
Absolutely. And that's what, look, it wasn't right in the corner, but it was enough in the corner with the power to mean that Lecomte just couldn't stop it. It's a really good, well-taken penalty. And when you're stepping up for those, listen, don't give me anyone who says, oh, penalties don't really count. Anyone who says that hasn't kicked a ball and taken a penalty in front of 20, 30, 40, 60,000 people. With him knowing especially that this could be the moment. If he misses, it probably goes to extra time. If they win, there's every chance they go through to the next round. He held his nerve. Great strike. 1-0.
And it's the Southampton fans, you can hear brilliant scenes away to our left, jumping in unison as that ball found the bottom corner. Fulham have responded by making a change. Raul Jimenez on for Harrison Reed, but he's only got 3 minutes plus probably a little bit more added on now at the end of the 6 that were indicated to keep Fulham in the FA Cup. And well, we are at the moment going to have an EFL side waving the flag in the quarter-finals, unless Fulham can find an equaliser. Josh King towards him and as the near post, can't get there. The ball is out for a goal kick, and well, James Bree, as the ball boy, looked to get it back in play quickly, has just kicked it back out. They are in no hurry, Southampton, and you can't blame them.
Absolutely not. There's actually a really good ball in, and Raul Jimenez can't get on the end. It's still waiting for his first touch. It's a great ball in from Josh King. Well, I'd like to have seen him on the pitch a little bit earlier. Look, I'm not. If Fulham end up losing this game, I'm not going to criticise Marco Silva for his team selection, but perhaps you can criticise for the lack of options and the options that he's got, that he didn't bring them on a little bit earlier. It's going to be too late for Raul Jimenez, and Josh King should have been on the pitch earlier as well.
Brilliant noise now in that away end to our left. You are listening to the FA Cup live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Prices may vary as Nathan Wood just helps the ball back to his goalkeeper Peretz. Clean sheet now for Southampton, and they are in the last 8 of the FA Cup. A competition they've not won for 50 years. Here is Adozi, making space on the edge of the penalty area, forward towards Azaz. He was just blocked off there by Kuenka Clever, and the goalkeeper Lecomte comes out and bowls it quickly forward to Alex Iwobi. Time not on Fulham's side now. We've played 95 minutes. Only 6 were indicated to be added on. Probably that will go to 8 now as Muniz tries to bring it down inside the area. Josh King keeps the move alive, but bashed upfield by Cam Bragg. Anywhere will do now for Southampton. Wrexham so close to an upset against Chelsea last night, couldn't get it over the line. Mansfield gave Arsenal a real fright. Are Southampton going to be the team to give us the shock? Looks like it at the moment, but Fulham have got a free kick midway inside the Saints half and a yellow card for Matsky for the foul.
I didn't even think that was a foul at first glance. I thought it just went in with a strong challenge. Yes, Iwobi got hurt, but you can have a contact still and tackles being made without someone getting a foul and a yellow card. I mean, as I say, it wasn't even a foul in my book, but this surely, with just under 30 seconds to go, would be the last moment for Fulham to stay in the FA Cup.
Everybody forward by the keeper for this free kick. Sessegnon chips it into the area, headed down by Muniz, comes to Iwobi, shot blocked on the edge of that congested box, and Southampton clear it to the centre circle. The 6 added minutes are up. That's a foul by Bree on Josh King, so another opportunity, and maybe this time the comp will be summoned forward. He's certainly asking the question, the keeper, of Marco Silva. Are we going to get a late twist in the towel here? Fulham 0, Southampton 1. Sessegnon over the free kick. They've just got to see this out, you feel, Southampton, and victory will be theirs. And what a win as well for Tondereker's men. Come on, Fulham is the cry, but that ball looks too close to the goalkeeper. It's grabbed from the air by Daniel Peretz, and they're roaring, the Southampton fans, like they've just scored the second goal. They know how significant that could be. Peretz booms it forward. Ross Stewart will chase and try and put the pressure on Castagna. Brings it down, Stewart inside the area, tried to set it up for Matsky. Couldn't find him, but the clearance has only gone to Azaz. I think he'll just try and keep it by the corner flag, Azaz, having won the penalty that separates these two teams. They're keeping it, Saints, down by the left corner flag. Edozie grappling with Iwobi. Goes to ground, no free kick, says the referee, and can Fulham get it forward one last time with Chukwueze? Southampton fans and Tondereke, the manager, want the full-time whistle. Chukwueze goes down, he goes flying into a challenge on Manning. Referee is going to show a yellow card here, I think, for the Fulham man. So it'll be a free kick for Southampton, Scott, on the halfway line. This should really be the last passage of play. We're into the 98th minute.
Yeah, we've had 100 seconds over the 6 minutes of injury time, and I'm not quite sure where any extra injury time would have come from. Southampton clearly just need to take their time, get it into the corner, rugby style, play from there. Surely, if it's not the last kick, we must be close to.
Well, those travelling fans are ready to erupt behind the goal to our left as Peretz, the keeper, prepares to send this free kick forward down towards the left corner flag. There is the full-time whistle. Scenes of utter jubilation for the men from the South Coast. 50 years after winning this famous old trophy, the Saints are marching into the quarter-finals. They provided the upset on fifth round weekend. A penalty in stoppage time from Ross Stewart has ended Fulham's hopes of a first ever major trophy. What a performance, Scott Minto, from the team, 8th in the championship.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. You know, Southampton have come here, they're trying to hunt down what was the start of a shocking season, really, when in the bottom half of the championship. Manager gone, new one come in, caretaker manager. Hold on a minute, this guy who stepped up from the under-21s is doing a good job here. Let's give him the job. It's not gone quite right immediately after that, and suddenly they've gone back again. This is a squad that should be, at the very least, be chasing top 6, but when the expectation is there, we see at all levels, you have to be very, very strong mentally, and it's taken this Southampton side a bit of time to get used to the expectations of being in the championship, of playing with pressure. And they've come in, we spoke about it, Crookie, at the start of the game. There's nothing to lose here, absolutely nothing for Southampton. They're playing a Premier League side, they're playing at the home of the Premier League side. Really, they want to be concentrating on the championship and the race for the playoffs. So if they lose, no one's really going to say, oh, well, you know, that shouldn't have happened. And they've come here and they've been absolutely brilliant. I still feel, and they'll hide behind the letter of the law, and I understand it, but not every goal kick is stopped with the ball rolling. They've got a little bit of luck there, but you need that. And they've been absolutely sensational. Defensively, they've been brilliant. They've been asked questions throughout the whole of the game at different points of the game. And if their back four was penetrated, then the goalkeeper was fantastic, making some really great, brave saves. And then they've gone down the other end, just as we thought. It's got extra time written all over it. Well done, Ross Stewart, coming on, realising I've got to play this first time. Well done, Finn Azaz, for getting in the box and nicking it between the legs of Anderson, getting that bit of contact, winning the penalty. And then well done, Ross Stewart, again, for taking the penalty. And what was, as you said, really good technique with pace and power.
And amazing scenes away to our left as Ross Stewart, the winning goal scorer, punches the air in front of the Southampton fans. They respond in kind. Yellows, yellows is the cry. Well, they came in number, and they have been rewarded with an excellent victory for the Championship side. Time now to pick our man of the match with McDonald's.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m. subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
A difficult choice, I would imagine, Scott.
It is. I'm quickly looking down at the players, and now obviously it's got to go to a Southampton player. I think the whole back four has been brilliant. I think Daniel Peretz has got to be very, very close to winning it. Well done to Ross Stewart for coming off the bench and scoring the winning goal. I just feel Flynn Downs throughout the whole game was really good. He was protecting his back four while also trying to start attacks at the same time as well. Playing it short when he needed to play it, going for it long when he needed to go a little bit long and stretch the Fulham defence. I thought it was a real proper senior pros performance, so I'm going to give it to Flynn Downs.
There you go, that was our man of the match, all thanks to McDonald's.